Baltimore batting at .301, 7 home runs and 42 RBIs, and some controversy. In fact, it wasn't even a definite that he'd be in the Athletics lineup tonight. He met with manager Tony La Russa, I would say, for about an hour before the game today, as Ricky asked out of the Athletics lineup yesterday. Tony La Russa wasn't too thrilled with that, with the Athletics involved in a playoff chase.
Well, those are one of the things when you trade for Ricky Henderson, you know you're going to have some problems that come with the package. He's a terrific player. He's the guy you want in September. He's been there before.
Well, 1-1 pitch in there for a strike, and it's 1-2 on Henderson. Well, basically the way the story went, I'm sure you fans have seen the rumors that have floated around the last week, because the trading deadline was yesterday and Henderson's name was mentioned prominently, possibly going to the Indians. Well, Ricky said, with all these trade rumors, I can't concentrate. I need out of the lineup. And his manager didn't like that, a player of his stature not being able to come to the ballpark to play.
And of course, the last time New York fans heard anything like that, it was Denny Tartabull saying that he couldn't concentrate because of the fans booing him, and he asked out of the lineup.
So you want to be a big league manager, huh?
Well, it helps if you know philosophy, that's for sure. Here's the 2-2 to Ricky, a slow roller to third. Boggs with the in-between hop, and he'll throw out Henderson, one away.
What you try and do on Ricky Henderson now is get it inside, because they're saying that he doesn't turn as fast on the fastball, so you try and bust it in the fist, just what Kamenicki did.
So the dangerous Henderson retired to start the game, and here's Geronimo Baroa, who has really come on for the Oakland Athletics. Baroa, a guy that labored. He's 30 years old, and he's only had 2 full seasons in the major leagues. He's been a pro since 1984, but most of that spent in the minor leagues. I guess you could say that, at least for persistence, here's a guy that hung around and now finally getting a shot.
And once he gets to the major leagues and gets Tony La Russa and that staff, you look at Baroa's average against the Yankees is .371, 4 homers and 16 RBI. He's much more selective.
Towards the middle, played by Velarde. He has a strong arm and gets him by a step. Nice play by Randy Velarde. 2 men are out. And a nice stretch by Don Mattingly.
We've had 2 close plays at first base right down the first 2 outs here. Ball up the middle. He knows he has a little more time. Baroa doesn't run that great, but still getting rid of the ball quickly. Nice play.
And a nice stretch there by Don Mattingly, who's been plagued by the back problems this year, but played that one very well. 2 outs, nobody on for Brent Gates, the switch hitter who has been red hot and right in the middle of this Oakland surge. The A's have won 9 of their last 11 to sneak back into this race. And the fastball is high, 1-0.
He had a 17-game hitting streak, which came to an end on Tuesday night, but he's 5 for 10 since that.
Gates just 25 years old with a big future, and Kamenicki hits the inside corner for a strike.
Played with injuries last year, but he's hits .275 against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium.
1-1 the count, 2 men out, just underway in the Bronx. There's a looper to left field, playable for Paul O'Neill, and the Athletics go down 1-2-3 in the first. 2 ground balls and a short pop. We're going to the bottom of the first. Yankees nothing, Athletics nothing.
Toyota Camry, the best car built in America.
To Yankee Stadium, Jim Hunter with Keith Hernandez and Susan Waldman on Baseball Night in America. There's Todd Van Poppel, the 23-year-old right-hander, on the hill for the Athletics tonight. Van Poppel, a record of 3-5, his ERA at 3.81, and he's pitched very well as of late, winning 2 of his last 3 decisions.
And here is tonight's Budweiser New York Yankees starting lineup. Wade Boggs leads off. Bernie Williams follows him. Paul O'Neill in right field tonight. Ruben Sierra, the DH. He'll be followed by Dion James, Don Mattingly, Mike Stanley catching tonight, Tony Fernandez at shortstop, and Randy Velarde at second base.
And as you see there, 86 errors for the A's, 4th most in the American League. Last 9 games, just 4 errors. I think that's pretty brutal right there. Anyway, their setup is right there. We're getting ready for the first pitch. You can read that.
And here's the red-hot Wade Boggs, and Van Poppel with a fastball low, 1-0.
Van Poppel's got a fastball. He'll cut it. He'll throw it straight. He's got a real hard curve and a straight change. Only 23 years old.
Swing and a miss at a slider. It's a ball and a strike. Boggs batting at .323 with 5 home runs and 49 RBIs, and he just keeps going and going and going. And he is a big reason the Yankees on this homestand have turned it around, along with Paul O'Neill. It's low for a ball, 2-1.
Boggs is 9 for 17 with 3 RBI on this homestand so far, and he's hit about 350 since the All-Star break.
Slaps it foul. It's 2-2.
I think another important thing to note on Wade is the fact that in 14 seasons he's never been on the DL. He's been durable, a durable player. That's someone you can rely on to be in the lineup every day. That's critical.
Must be that chicken he eats every day. Maybe I ought to start doing that. Works for him. The 2-2 by Van Poppel. That's curving foul, and Boggs will come back and do it again. Wade goes to left field, Keith, as well as anyone in baseball, that inside-out swing.
Well, that's pretty much his forte, and almost on a guy like Wade, it's just like pitch him away and play him away, and then take your chances.
Ball came back on the field, and Ricky Henderson picked it up and handed it to a fan in the first row out there. You see the defense on the left side. A big gap in left center field as Henderson plays toward the line, and a lot of room straight up the middle.
They should probably shade the Henderson over to right center a little bit more. I'm sorry, the right fielder.
And the 2-2 is hit that way. Ricky towards the line and doesn't have a play.
I mean, it does leave a big gap out there in right center field. And I would shift the infield over. Second base, get him more up the middle. The only ball that Wade's going to pull is an off-speed pitch, and Wade's going to go over the shortstop head 90 out of 100 times.
And what you try and do, pitch him away, and then bust it in very softly inside, get him to turn his wrists over and ground to second base.
What impresses you about Boggs is the type of cuts he gets with 2 strikes. He doesn't mind hitting even behind in the count. There's a fastball high, and the count goes full. His walk to strikeout ratio excellent. He struck out only 39 times this year while walking 56. And the payoff pitch is slap foul as he just protects the outside corner and stays alive.
One of the things that has really been overlooked about Boggs is his defense, and since he's come to the Yankees, he worked with Cleve Boyer for an awfully long time, got his first Gold Glove last year. I thought it was way overdue.
Recently picked up his 25th 100th base hit. And there's the ball towards the gap in left center, and that's a tweener. It's going to go all the way to the wall, and Boggs will be in with a double. As Stan Javier gets it back in, and there you go. Wade Boggs going the opposite way. And with 2 strikes, it didn't matter. He got a good pitch to hit, and he's in with a leadoff double.
That's what Boggs will do so well. He'll just wait for the pitcher to make a mistake. There's Boggs with that swing. He missed up with that, Von Poppel, and Boggs does have power. We've seen that over the years, and he just belted it over the 399 sign.
I think Von Poppel's mistake there was that he got the pitch upstairs, and the easiest pitch in baseball to hit is the ball up and away in the strike zone, particularly a line drive hitter like Wade Boggs.
The Yankees got it going early last night against California, and Boggs their leadoff man at second. And here's Bernie Williams, and the breaking ball is low, 1-0. Bernie batting at .294 with 15 home runs and 67 RBIs, and since the All-Star break he has been on a tear, and it doesn't seem to matter whether he's up there from the right side or the left side, as he is now against the right-hander Van Poppel. And it's inside, 2-0.
And all Bernie's done in the last 6 games is go 13 for 23 with 5 RBI, and you're right. And this is the first year, Jim and Keith, that Bernie has hit for a higher average from the right side than the left. Natural right-handed hitter.
I like the fact that he got off to a bad start this year and weathered the storm and has had a great second half.
Fastball misses. Oh, excuse me. It's a strike. 2-1.
He does that. April and May have never been good months for him. There are players, I guess, that are like that.
You know, if you got to be mentally strong to kind of get through that. Early in my career, I always had bad Aprils, and until I finally felt comfortable enough and confident enough where I overcame that. So maybe he has the same problem. Who knows? I probably should have asked him.
And the 2-1 is outside. 3-1 on Bernie. Well, the Yankees red hot on this homestand, and you see they're doing it with the extra base hit. 7 home runs, 3 of those last night by Paul O'Neill himself. And Buck Showalter, the Yankee manager, finally getting production from these Yankee bats. They hit 3 home runs on that miserable West Coast road trip combined. And the 3-1 is low, ball 4, first and second, nobody out for New York. Well, Keith, that's that old Earl Weaver kind of way of managing. There's nothing better and able to help you and get you on the board quick than that 3-run home run.
Well, the American League is a 3-run home run league, and here's Paul's home run last night. 3-run shot, 1 of 3.
This was the solo shot, number 3.
Okay.
O'Neill had an 0 for 16 streak. That was his last homer. He had 3-run homers in the first and second. Was 0 for 16. Paul O'Neill said that he went by so fast he didn't even get a chance to enjoy it.
And I think what you have to respect from Paul O'Neill is the fact that when he came up his 4th at-bat, he stayed within himself, and the RBI base hit to center field. He didn't try to overswing to go for that 4th home run.
Which Buck Showalter said getting that extra run, that 9-4 lead, was very important.
And the breaking ball hits the inside corner, 0-1. O'Neill, as you see, .310 with 19 home runs now and 72 RBIs. First and second, nobody out for New York. We're in the first. Fastball high. You know, the amazing thing about his bid last night for the 4 home runs is the fact that in Yankee history, the last Yankee to hit 4 in a game, you have to go all the way back to 1932 and Lou Gehrig. And it hits the outside corner, 1-2. Lou Gehrig on June the 3rd of 1932 hit 4 in one game, and as it's written, he just missed the 5th, and unfortunately for Lou, and John McGraw, the Giants manager, seemed to do this to the Yankees all the time, but he picked that day to retire, and Lou was an afterthought in the papers the next day as John McGraw got all the headlines. So from 1932 to last night, and still no Yankee since Lou has hit 4 home runs in a game, and Paul O'Neill last night came very, very close.
And it was good for O'Neill, who's been really down on himself. He gets as down as any player I've ever seen. When he goes into a slump, you know about it. Water coolers go, lamps go, and he just does not focus.
And Popple ahead, 1-2. He's been very good with the walks and strikeouts this year. This one lifted to center field, playable for Stan Javier. Boggs will tag at second. He'll draw a throw and stay there, and 1 man out in the first. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. MCI, the company that brings you proof positive. And Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you.
We already see what's transpired here. You know, in that situation there, you want to hit a fly ball. You'd rather hit it to the right fielder. At this time in the season, you start doing the little things to win ball games. Getting that runner to third base to set up a sacrifice fly to get you ahead 1-0.
And Van Poppel at 1-2, Keith, got O'Neill to go after his pitch instead of the other way around. Here's Sierra, fastball high, 1-0. Ruben, the former Athletic. And there's Paul O'Neill, and I guess when he makes a critical out, you have to watch out for that water cooler down there. He seems to be treating it with respect, at least at the moment. Oh.
Whoops. No, the cap will go first,
no,
and then the shin guards. As for Sierra, in the 4 games on this homestand, he's 9 for 19, 474 average with a homer and 5 RBI. He just had an awful road trip. He said last night that he was trying too hard to prove to everybody on the West Coast that he was still a good hitter.
Sierra has just about taken over that DH spot for New York on a daily basis. And a strike at the outside corner at the belt, 1-1. Being a switch hitter, Buck Showalter has the advantage, of course, of just penciling Sierra's name in there regardless of the pitcher.
Paul's talking to himself there. It's only 1 at bat. You got 3 more before this game's over.
Now, does that feed on itself? I mean, this guy really gets himself crazy.
Well, it depends on the at bat. If he feels that he had a pitch to hit and missed it, then you've got and you had a good swing and you feel good about it. If you think you've had a pitch you should rip,
popped up.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Left side. It's in foul ground and playable for Paquette, who makes the catch, and a big out there, 2 men down. So New York had first and second and nobody out. Still first and second now, 2 men away in the first.
So, you know, as I was saying, Susan, if you've had a bad swing on a pitch you should handle, then you can be angry at yourself. If you've had a good hack at a pitch you should have hit and you just missed it, you can't get on yourself.
He thinks that if he hits a triple, it should have been out. If he hits a single, it should have been a double. If it's a double, it should have been a triple. And if it's a triple, it should have been out.
I'd rather have a player on my team with that attitude that drives himself and pushes for perfection.
Here's Deion James, who gets the start tonight. A surprise to some of us who were expecting Darryl Strawberry in there tonight with the right-hander on the mound. There's Darryl sitting this one out. And a line drive and a base hit. Boggs will round third and head for the plate. The Yankees will take the early lead. Bernie Williams can fly. Willie Randolph's going to wave him home as Baroa has trouble in the corner. And it'll be a 2 RBI triple for Deion James. And Buck Showalter knows his players. How about that?
Deion James hitting .343 since the All-Star break, and this is the perfect kind of guy to have on every team. He sits, he's quiet, he'll not play for 10 days, and he'll come in and he'll contribute.
Here's the pitch again. It's a breaking ball. Not down enough, hanging over the middle. Deion is a typical left-hand hitter, too. Loves the low ball. You got to pitch him up and in, upstairs. Good breaking ball hitter. And like Susan said, I played with him 1 year in Cleveland. He has got a tremendous attitude, accepts his role, and when he goes in there, he's just a team player. You got to have those guys in your team. You got to win with 25.
And here's Don Mattingly, and he takes a strike. That ball in the corner not played very well by Baroa. It looked like he was afraid it was going to scoot past him. So instead of charging after the ball and possibly keeping James at second, he waited for the ball to come to him, and that allowed Deion to get the extra base. Mattingly fouls it off. He's behind 0-2. Don batting at .278 with 5 home runs and 37 RBIs. And now with 98 base hits on the year. Yankees with an early 2-0 lead, just as they did last night against California. And that helps out your starting pitcher tonight, Scott Kamenicki. The 0-2 is slap foul as Don protects.
And of course, is this the last September 1st you're ever going to see Don Mattingly in a Yankee uniform? I quite frankly think it is.
It's tough when you're a veteran. It's a different pressure when your game is slipping for injuries or age, and you start not doing the things that you took for granted. You get it from you read it in the press, and it's a whole different way to react.
Ground ball towards the middle, played by Gates, but he won't have a play. It's an RBI single, infield hit for Mattingly, and the Yankees lead at 3-0. Well, Gates with a terrific effort, but I think that ball hit the back of the mound and it slowed it down. And by the time Gates was able to get to the ball, he wasn't able to get up and make a play.
All right, Van Poppel throwing to Mattingly, and he's going to go right back in the middle, gets it on the outside part of the paint. Mattingly tried to pull it, shouldn't have done that, but it paid off there, an RBI single.
So the clutch 2-out hits by Deion James and Don Mattingly. And there's Deion talking it over with Paul O'Neill. I think Deion's a little happier with his at-bat than Paul was.
He's probably saying, don't worry, I picked you up. That's a great line right there. When someone fails in front of you, it's like, hey, don't worry, I'll pick you up.
He's telling Gerald Williams, boy, what a pitch I got. Look, O'Neill's saying, no, I didn't get that pitch. How come you got that pitch?
All right, that is also the value of a Deion James talking to the kids. Gerald Williams talking to him, always talking to the kids. He's very good friends with Bernie and Gerald Williams, always pumping everybody up. Now he's pumping O'Neill up.
Hey, you did good, Deion. And Mike Stanley, meantime, behind 0-2. You know, O'Neill down there, he's saying, well, yeah, well, no smile yet.
Now, last night, after the 3rd home run, Wade Boggs said, glory be, we finally got a smile out of O'Neill.
Come on, Paul, just a little one. Well, maybe not yet.
He's got his game face on.
1-2 on Stanley, who had a home run last night. Mike hitting at .281, 17 home runs and 72 RBIs. And talk about a pro. Here's one right here. He's been banged up this year, and he's still in there.
He has really developed into a fine player.
Mattingly leads, swinging a foul back.
Mike Stanley, absolutely the MVP on this team. Plays with concussions, plays with banged up fingers and legs. Gets hit on the head with a bat more than any catcher I've ever seen. You can't get him out of the lineup, and obviously just a tremendous person with the bat.
See the defense there. There's a lot of room out there in left center, and Stanley is a pull hitter. And the Athletics playing him to hit the other way. You see Javier in center shading towards right center. And a ground ball to short. Nice hop there for Boric. He'll flip to second for the force. And the Yankees go down to the first, but not before they score 3 on 3 base hits. We go to the second. Yankees lead the Athletics 3-0. And the Yankees with a 3-0 lead on the Athletics. Here comes Oakland in the second. The Athletics with 1-2-3 in the first. And here's the key man to Oakland's playoff run, Mark McGwire. In there at DH and back from his stint on the DL. And there it goes. No doubt about that one. If it's fair, it is a fair ball and a home run for Mark McGwire. And just like that, the Athletics get on the board. And Tony La Russa will tell you that if there is one person that is critical to the success of this team, it is Mark McGwire, because when he's in the lineup, it makes everybody around him better. And he went up there looking fastball. He gets the fastball and he parks it for home run number 28.
One of the things you saw about McGwire, he was 2 for 14 since he came back off the DL, but that homer was last night, and you look at that and you say, uh-oh, he's getting back. He missed 20 games with a lower sore back.
You don't want to throw him inside.
Oh.
He's so quick in there. He's only been back. He's had 14 at bats since being off the DL, and this might get him going, and it's very nice for the A's to have him back.
There's Jason Giambi, who swings and misses 0-1.
Here's McGwire from the side here. Very strong. Just quick bat, turns, uppercut swing. You pitch him inside, you get in trouble.
And you know what's amazing about him is Giambi takes a strike. It's 0-2. For a right-handed power hitter, he goes against the book. He likes the ball low.
Right. I agree with you. And there's a lot of right-hand hitters now. The new generation of right-hand hitters are low ball hitters. There are more and more right-hand low ball hitters, which go against the trend of a high ball right-hand hitter, low ball left-hand hitter. Left-hand hitters are always constant. They love the low ball.
Giambi, a 24-year-old rookie, played on the U.S. Olympic team, and they just love this kid. They think he's going to hit. Jimmy Lefevre says that, the hitting coach says that he's a student of this game and always looking at tapes and always overachieving. He's going to be a good player. Is actually a third baseman, but he's been playing first base since McGwire went down.
Yeah, they like his toughness. And for a young player, he went through the system very well. There's McGwire working on that back of the dugout. He's in there as the DH, and a swing and a miss, and Giambi down on strikes. First strikeout for Kamenicki, and 1 out here in the second. That'll bring up Terry Steinbach, the veteran catcher, another of the team leaders, as Mark tries to walk it off. It looks as if, Keith, he may have aggravated that back with the swing.
Well, if you're an A's fan, you don't want that to happen. You need this man. And it seems like the A's are getting all their veterans back right now at the right time of the season. I was talking with Lon Simmons before the game, and he said that the club played better when the young kids took over. And since then, they've been able to get the veterans back. The veterans have come back and picked up the slack also in this club. That's why they got back in the hunt.
And the other team that did that was the Seattle Mariners. When Ken Griffey was out, people overachieved, and they stayed right in it. Steinbach just came back from the DL on Tuesday.
Here's his at-bat, and we'll see if maybe he grimaces as he leaves the box.
I don't think so.
No, he's just watching.
He's fine.
The 1-1 to Steinbach, and a bouncer foul. Terry batting at .267 on the year, and Terry, one of the few major leaguers that has played his entire big league career for the same manager. Every big league game he has played with Tony La Russa.
You're going to find fewer and fewer of those now, aren't you?
Absolutely.
In today's game, the player playing on the same team his whole career is just about over.
Well, then,
and we've got one out there at first base for the Yankees, as well as McGwire.
Well, but he never played for the same manager. There's been 9 of them since I've been here. Well, that's if you count Pinella twice, Billy twice.
2-2 on Steinbach with Javier on deck. Just missed the outside corner, and Steinbach with a good eye works the count full.
Plus, one of Steinbach's strengths is his handling of this pitching staff. It's a young pitching staff. It's the kind of guy you want behind the plate with young pitchers. He's a veteran. He knows how to work the hitters.
And right back to Kamenicki. Nice play with a quick glove. And he'll throw out Steinbach for the second out. Kamenicki fired that ball to first. He maybe didn't seem too pleased with that pitch or the location of it, but it worked out okay for him as Steinbach hit it right back at him.
Kept that ball in the outer part of the plate. That's just where you want to do. You don't want Steinbach to pull it because he'll hit it out just in the same place as McGwire did.
That pitch was in the outside corner, knee high. That's a good fastball.
And here's Stan Javier, the veteran switch hitter, playing center field. He's done a good job for La Russa this year, and a foul back 0-1.
Funny, Javier, one of those late developing players, has been through this system, been around an awfully long time, and just this year and last year he's really come into his own. He is 21 for his last 51. He's batting .412 with 5 doubles, a homer, and 10 RBI in the last 51 at bats.
Now in his second stint with the Athletics. Fastball misses in. It's 1-1 on Javier.
Actually was in the Yankee system for a while.
We actually have a great contrast in pitchers tonight. Von Poppel's a raw, hard-throwing, hard-breaking ball pitcher. And Kamenicki is crafty, knows how to pitch in and out.
In between hop to Velarde, but he plays it cleanly and throws out Javier for the final out. Athletics get a run on the solo home run by Mark McGwire. We go to the bottom of the second, 3-1 New York. Lead on Oakland as Tony Fernandez will lead off for the Yankees. Well, Joey Lawrence is coming to NBC Sundays this fall, starring in the new comedy series Brotherly Love with his two real-life brothers. Following the NFL on NBC, it's Brotherly Love Sundays this fall. 3-1 New York. Here's Fernandez, the switch hitter. Batting number 8 tonight. Velarde and Wade Boggs will follow. And a ground ball towards the middle. Nice play by Gates to his right, and he'll gun down Fernandez, 1 man out. Well, Mark McGwire in the dugout may be talking about Kamenicki. He may be talking about his back. Danny Tartavel, of course, Keith, the former Yankee, he's seen these pitchers and maybe giving a little bit of a scouting report.
I think that if there's anything that was said, it was said before the game would start. This pitcher likes to do this or throw this in this situation. He certainly has been over in other dugout enough.
Here's Randy Velarde, the number 9 batter and Mr. Utility for New York. He'll play anywhere and do it very well, and his bat has kept him in the lineup.
Hit safely in 10 of his last 11 games, and when you think, guys, that this was one of the Homestead guys and almost didn't have a job and was signed for about $250,000, the greatest discount player of the year, Randy Velarde.
He's got a nice little curveball. Von Poppel's been getting hurt when he gets his fastball and his curveball up like most pitchers. He's got an outstanding fastball, great breaking ball. He's like a diamond in the rough, and he's young. If he learns to get command and keep the ball downstairs, this kid's going to win 20.
A 2-1 to Velarde and a foul back. Well, as pitching coach Dave Duncan says, the difference in the Todd Van Poppel you see now from even earlier this year is that he now has command of his breaking ball, and he'll throw it anywhere in the count, and he has the confidence in it to throw it for strikes. Early in the year, he just had no idea where in the zone it was going, and that was the pitch that was hurting Van Poppel. High and tight, and it's 3-2 on Velarde.
And he's been helped by one of the veteran pitchers on that team. It's a nice story. Rick Honeycutt has helped this kid, and every day when Van Poppel is pitching, you'll see the two of them out there working on that curveball, spinning it for strikes and playing catch in the outfield.
Now that was high heat to get Velarde off the plate. And the payoff pitch is low. Good eye for Velarde. And a 1-out walk. Second walk issued by Van Poppel.
That pitch didn't miss by much. I think what got him in trouble in the first inning was the walk to Bernie Williams. Early in the game, you're setting up a big inning, then you want to go after a hitter. He walked him on a curveball, I believe, set up the big inning. That's early in the game. You just don't want to get yourself in that kind of trouble. Take your chances.
Velarde, the runner at first, Keith, and here's Boggs, who doubled and scored in the Yankee first. Fastball high and away, 1-0.
It's very interesting, oddly enough. Wade hates to hit and run, and you would think a hitter like Wade Boggs was a great contact hitter, great line drive hitter, very seldom hits fly balls, hits the ball on the ground. You'd think that he would be one of the great hit and run hitters, and he absolutely hates to hit and run.
And he hits the corner for a strike. Well, maybe part of the reason for that is on a hit and run, you have to swing at the pitch regardless of where it is, and he is so selective that he likes to look and work the pitcher to get his pitch to hit.
Agreed. I think it's psychological. I used to love the hit and run. It just made me swing, and I could go the other way.
Slap foul. Velarde bluffed at first, and hands on his knees looking in at Boggs. Maybe he's apologizing in a way that he may have distracted him.
Wade is one of those players that knows where the plate is, and as he says, you know, that the plate is 17 inches wide, and he knows every inch of that, and if he doesn't get his pitch, he won't swing at it. And quite frankly, the guy's going to the Hall of Fame because he knows the difference between a walk and a strike.
And a call, strike 3, and the man that knows the strike zone was just fooled by that breaking ball by Van Poppel.
An excellent breaking ball in the outside corner.
Wow.
I think that would get a few hitters. These catchers set up outside, as you see. There's, look at that. Like got a little bit of the plate. It came over on the outer half of the plate. But all that matters, it froze Wade Boggs, and go sit down and grab some pine.
That's what you call looking for Uncle Charlie, huh? Well, there's Dave Duncan and the pitching chart there you see next to him. And Duncan working very hard with Van Poppel, and as Susan mentioned, the veteran leadership of Rick Honeycutt, taking the youngster under his wing and working on that breaking ball. And what I find most interesting about that story is that Honeycutt's a left-hander and Van Poppel a right-hander, yet he was able to show him some things with the delivery and snapping of the ball and whatnot, and it really has turned him around.
Well, when you look at he has actually cut his walk ratio from last year in half. From God, he had 89 walks in 116 and 2/3 innings, and down to 40 this year from 89 last year.
Well, one of the things I used to always look for in a pitcher was innings pitched and walks, and if he had more than half walks for the innings, I knew I can get ahead of the count.
The 1-0 is high. 2-0 count. Well, earlier this afternoon here at the stadium, as the A's arrived, Van Poppel made his way out to the outfield, and there's Rick Honeycutt throwing to Van Poppel. And every time Van Poppel starts, Susan, this is what they go through.
This is what they started, and it started when Van Poppel was taken out of the rotation, and it's just a great story.
Fastball to Bernie is high, and the count to 3-0.
And Van Poppel was out in the outfield one day, and Honeycutt said, "What's the matter?" And he said, "They just took me out of the rotation." And Honeycutt said, "Do you think you deserve to be in the rotation?" He said, "Well, no, my breaking ball's not doing what it's supposed to." And he said, "Well, let's throw a few. Let's see what's happening." And they do this every time Van Poppel starts. They go out and they'll spin a few to each other and play catch in the outfield. A tremendous veteran leadership cannot be replaced with coaching, and it's got to make a big difference, don't you think, Keith?
Absolutely, and players are a very superstitious lot. If something works and you do it that way at the park, you will do it the next time out there.
So when Honeycutt retires, he'll be back. And
well, maybe when Honeycutt, if Poppel gets traded to a different team, or they part ways, he has to find some other new way to make it work.
So Van Poppel issues his second walk in the inning and third in the game, and
this pitch was a strike.
And he thought he was squeezed by Tim Sheeta.
Right there. Catcher didn't even move his glove. Which is unusual because the American League will give you the outside corner.
First and second, one man out for Paul O'Neill. Flied out to center field, his first at bat.
And lately about 12 inches on either side of the plate.
So this is the second time he's walked someone into scoring. Well, it's set himself up to get hurt.
High with the fastball, 1-0, and here's Steinbach out to the mound. Last inning, when Boggs reached second base, Steinbach had to go out and talk with Van Poppel, and sometimes that's because the pitcher may have forgotten the cadence of which sign would be the indicator for the pitch. And maybe Steinbach there didn't call for a fastball and got it. Dave Duncan looking on with concern. His pitcher trails 3-1, and he's walked himself into trouble here, first and second, with two men out. Low with that pitch, and it's 2-0.
The changeup has got him in trouble. He hasn't got, that's his third pitch. It's the one he has least command of. I question that call to go behind 2-0 in this situation with a 3-1 ball game.
There's a fastball O'Neill takes. The last at bat, O'Neill fell behind 0-2. This at bat, he got ahead 2-0.
He's still ahead in the count. This is a good pitch to hit here.
Bordick shading up the middle on him, the shortstop, and he hit the outside corner with a changeup there, and it's 2-2. Nice pitch.
Actually, that was a very nasty breaking ball in the outside corner.
You actually grimaced when you saw that.
He's got a nice breaking ball. If a pitcher can throw breaking balls for strikes behind the count, he's going to win.
Now the 2-2 is lined to left center. That's in for a hit. Velarde's going to score as the ball goes all the way to the wall. Here comes Bernie Williams to third. He'll score. The throw comes in from Henderson. And a two-run double by Paul O'Neill. And the Yankees lead it 5-1. So he looks over the good curveball, and he gets a pitch out over the plate. And Keith, he goes the opposite way with it for a double.
Well, here it is here. It's a fastball on the outside corner. He set up inside, and it was away. The catcher wanted it in, and he got it away out over the outer half of the plate and down where O'Neill likes it. Any hitter would like it.
And there's Bernie. Bernie's sometimes a little lax on the base pass, but he gets going, and he is a very quick. He really shouldn't be looking at that point. Look at your third base coach instead of the ball, Bernie. But he comes around to score anyway.
Here's Ruben Sierra, who takes a strike. So the pitcher's nightmare, and more so the pitching coach's nightmare. Todd Van Poppel has walked 3 batters in this game, and all 3 have come around to score. 0-2 on Sierra as Paul O'Neill adds yet another extra base hit for New York on this homestand. That is 2 in this game, a triple by James and a double by Paul O'Neill.
And as you just talked about, Keith, using that changeup in that position behind in the count, you get further behind in the count and have to come in with the fastball.
Right. As a hitter, a pitcher can't get his breaking stuff or his off-speed stuff over. He has to come with a fastball when he's behind the count. And Van Poppel, both innings, has been hurt with 2 outs. He's been that close to getting out of the inning, and he just can't get that 3rd out. Which, when you're going to win, when you win, you get the 2 outs. The 2-out RBI hit is so critical.
Steinbach trying to calm down his pitcher. The 2-2 is swung on and missed. He got him. So down on strikes goes Sierra, but not before the Yankees add to their lead. 3 in the first, 2 in the second. We go to the third. Yankees leading Oakland 5-1. Yankee Stadium. Athletics come to bat now down by 4. A's have 1 base hit in the first 2 innings off Scott Kamenicki. That a solo home run by Mark McGwire leading off the second. Craig Paquette, Mike Bordick, and then Ricky Henderson. 8, 9, and 1 for Oakland in the third. And a fastball for a strike, 0-1. Paquette batting at .253, 16 home runs, and make that 12 home runs and 46 RBIs.
He's in the middle of a 14-game hitting streak. Over that period of 56 at bats, he's hitting .357 with 6 doubles, a home run, and 12 RBIs. So I'd say he's hot.
Hit the outside corner, and it's 1-2. Well, Tony La Russa says that one of the things about the surge has been, and he said, I hate to use a cliche, but it really has been a different guy every night. And if you're a manager, you don't mind using a cliche if that's what you're getting. If somebody's contributing every night, at least you know somebody's going to bring a hot bat to the game. Swing and a miss there, and down on strikes goes Craig Paquette. Second strikeout for Kamenicki.
Just throwing back-to-back breaking balls there, low and away, right where you want them. That's a nasty breaking ball. Fold him.
Here's Mike Bordick, who had a big home run last night. Bordick, the Athletic shortstop. And a fastball for a strike, 0-1.
He's had a hit in every game for his last 5 games, and he says, and this is quite a compliment for La Russa, he says he is the favorite player that he's ever managed, and that takes in an awful lot of people. Overachiever, works hard, has worked on his swing, has worked on his fielding. Tremendous player, leader on that infield. La Russa just loves this kind of player, as well he should.
And he plays every day. Line to right field, O'Neill backpedaling. He'll have a play, and he makes the catch, and 2 men are out. Well, here comes Ricky Henderson, who had an interesting last couple of days. He asked out of the lineup last night because he said he just, well, mentally wasn't into it. And tonight he had a 1-hour meeting with the skipper, Tony La Russa, to somewhat clear the air. And then Ricky, as he came out of the meeting, he came out on the field before he took batting practice and cleared the air with the writers.
It's always the media's fault, isn't it? And there's Ricky yelling at Pedro Gomez of the Sacramento Bee. Fine beat reporter.
Well, Ricky basically said, as I stood there and listened in, that you put all the rumors in the paper and it played with my head. So Ricky got himself in hot water with his skipper, asking out of the lineup and settling it with the writers there. And basically the writers said, well, Ricky, if you want to say that I caused all your problems, I guess you're right.
It's always the media's fault.
Yeah.
I've learned that.
Well, he's back in the lineup tonight. And the 0-1 is high, and it's 1-1.
Sometimes these kinds of things get Ricky going, however.
I think it's a lot of wasted energy. Take it out in the ball, on the pitcher.
Oh, no, there's a novel idea.
And the 1-1 by Kamenicki misses. It's 2-1 on Ricky.
What Kamenicki's had going for him this first 3 innings, well, actually 2 2 2/3, is he's getting his breaking ball over. and he's coming up and in with his fastball to keep the hitter honest and coming back with that outstanding breaking ball.
Fouled back, 2-2 on Henderson. You know, you mentioned wasted energy. Did you ever get in a fight with somebody else over something you may have done when you were a player, sort of just to vent and blow off some steam?
I never got in a fight. I almost got in one fight with a teammate, ironically, and it was one of the coaches of the Mets was Steve Swisher on an airplane, and I don't know how it happened, but I never had a problem getting along.
Little looper to first, playable for Mattingly. And the Athletics go 1-2-3 in the third. So Scott Kamenicki has pitched very well early on. He's allowed just one base hit. We go to the bottom of the third. 5-1 New York over Oakland.
Good look.
A house that Ruth built. Jim Hunter with Keith Hernandez and Susan Waldman on Baseball Night in America. Glad you can tune us in tonight. And, well, there's an old friend of Keith Hernandez. And now, what is it? The legend has it you had a fight with him.
Well, I didn't make myself clear, did I?
Yeah, you said you had a fight with Steve Swisher. You had one. Did you forget this one?
No, Darryl came after me, so I don't call that I got in a fight. Swisher and we went after each other, so I gave Darryl every opportunity. It was photo day in spring training, and I said, Darryl, are you sure you want to do this today, right now, with all these cameras?
Deion James fouls it off. He's behind 0-2. You know, that was my favorite photo day as a fan. Photo days are boring.
It was not mine. I don't think it was Darryl's neither.
Well, you know, I do have to tell you, Keith, that about 4 o'clock this afternoon or so, Susan and I were in the Yankee clubhouse and talking to Darryl. We were somewhat surprised at that point that he wasn't in the lineup, of course.
No, you were surprised.
Well, okay. I was surprised that he wasn't in the lineup. Of course, Buck Showalter's already proven me wrong with Deion James' first at-bat. And Darryl paid you a very high compliment. Yeah. He said, when I was a young hitter, Keith Hernandez was the one that really took me under his wing and taught me how to hit against left-handed pitching. And he felt that really helped him develop as a full-time player and a hitter that can do anything against any kind of pitcher. Nice play by Bordick on a short hop, and he guns down James, 1 out.
Well, that's very flattering that Darryl said that. Darryl did struggle early in his career against left-handers, and I did myself. I just told him to move a little closer to the plate and look area, middle in or middle out, always looking fastball. And if you're looking in, obviously you can't hit a breaking ball, so you take it. And if you're looking away on fastball, you can adjust to the curveball and hit the fastball away, and you got to take the fastball in and pick your spots. And he really took that in philosophy and made it work. So a lot of credit goes to him for putting it into action out there. I mean, I'll never forget the home run he hit off of Nepper in that game in New York. It was the 4th game of the playoffs in '86.
Mattingly at the plate, an infield hit an RBI, his first at-bat. Van Poppel gets ahead of him quickly, 0-2, working the outside corner. Donnie now 1 hit away from 100 on the year. And he slaps it foul. You know, Keith, looking at Mattingly there in the batter's box and seeing him really upright, straight up and down.
I know.
Seem to remember him in more of a crouch when he had his big years.
I just remember him crushing a pitch like that. I think his back is giving him trouble. He's not really ripping the bat on that pitch up and away.
Good eye there on the breaking ball.
I was in the clubhouse. I'm sorry. I was in the clubhouse before the game, and he's going through all kinds of different things to get his back loose. You feel for that. You know, the guy's had a great career like he's had.
The 1-2, and he got him on an off-speed pitch down on strikes. Right now, let's go to Hannah Storm for a Baseball Tonight update.
All right, let's check in on that crazy American League wild card race. Kansas City at Texas. It's 2-0 Royals, and Mark McLemore singles off Tom Gordon. And Otis Nixon hustles in all the way from second base, beating the throw by Tom Goodwin. It's now 2-1. Those two teams coming in tied for the wild card lead with Seattle, which is at Baltimore tonight. And in the first inning, the Mariners' Joey Cora, the second batter of the game, facing Mike Mussina. And Cora takes him over the scoreboard and right. The solo shot, it's 1-0. Cora adds another RBI. It is now 2-0. Mariners over the Orioles. Now let's send it back to the gang at Yankee Stadium.
So the Mariners staying hot in that wild card race. as Mike Stanley fouls it off.
There you saw Joey Cora there. Great story this year since he came over to Seattle, hitting almost 300 and has really contributed a lot. Talk about Otis Nixon. The other night he stole home for the first run of the game for Texas.
Stanley is 0 for 1. He bounced into a fielder's choice to end the first. Boy, how about Fazio on the Mariners? He gets hit on the chin the other night on a ball by Greenwell, and he says he's not even going to miss a start as Stanley goes down on strikes, and Van Poppel for the first time tonight gets New York in order. 1, 2, 3. 3 complete in the Bronx. Our score, the Yankees 5 and the Athletics 1. Base Geronimo Barroa at the plate, facing Scott Kamenicki, a count of 0-1. And he looks at a pitch outside, a ball and a strike. Barroa, Brent Gates, and then Mark McGuire for the Athletics in the 4th. Oakland trailing New York 5-1. And a 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss at the breaking ball. A ball and 2 strikes.
One of the things that Barroa has done since he's been through 4 or 5 other organizations as a minor leaguer, he is much more selective now. That wild swing that he just had right now, he used to do that an awful lot in the minors. He's more selective. He's taking a lot more pitches.
And the 1-2 is a pop to shallow right field. Velarde out, O'Neill in. It's O'Neill, and he makes the catch to retire Barroa. 1 man out. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paint and Decorating Stores. Ask Sherwin-Williams. Russell Athletic. For really tough athletic wear that can survive anything, Russell Athletic. Get tough. And Sears. Come see the many sides of Sears. Here's Brent Gates with 1 out, nobody on. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
One thing you see about Kamenicki now, he's being very aggressive. He's got his slider working, and he's working very quickly. When he slows down is when he gets in trouble. He starts thinking out there. He's being very aggressive, moving inside.
I was just going to mention that he seems to be getting into his rhythm. The book on Barroa must be breaking balls. He threw him 4 straight breaking balls. Led off Gates with a changeup, came back with a fastball. He knows how to pitch.
Now the 1-1 is grounded towards the middle. That's through for a base hit. Second base hit for the Athletics in the game, coming with 1 out here in the 4th.
One of the things you see about Kamenicki when he starts walking people is when he gets in trouble, and he's got no walks tonight. Very, very good sign for this guy. I think he had a breakthrough the other game in Seattle, pitched very, very well, just decided the heck with it. I'm going to be very, very aggressive, and I'm just going to go with my best stuff. I think I've been giving the hitters too much credit there. There's Nardi Contreras sitting in back of Willie Randolph, new pitching coach, and they've worked very hard on getting him more aggressive.
So here's McGuire with a man on. It gets away from Stanley all the way back to the screen. Gates makes the big turn at second. He's going to try for third. And the throw is not in time. And good hustle by Brent Gates. And the key there is he never hesitated. On his way to second, he took a peek. He saw that Stanley hadn't yet reached the ball, Keith, and he just kept on going.
Well, that's just great hustle there. And if we can get a replay on that, I'd love to see him before he rounds second, if he either was his own judgment to go to third, or was it the third base coach that waved him on. So much space back here in Yankee Stadium. Here he is here. That's his own judgment call. That's just good heads-up play, great hustle.
And this is why this team is winning. You're talking about a different guy every night. Tony La Russa talking about the hustle on this team, overachievers, and you just saw it right there.
Official scoring, a wild pitch, allowing Gates to go to third, and La Russa has a chance to pick up a run. A fly ball will do it here in the 4th. 1-1 on McGuire.
I think they'll keep the ball away from him.
And there's a base hit. That'll do the trick. As Gates scores, Bernie Williams will play it back in. Bobbles it momentarily, but McGuire rounding first and holding there. So McGuire is 2 out of 2, a home run and an RBI single. And it's a 5-2 Yankee lead.
Catcher setting up outside. It's a breaking ball on that good spot. That's just good hitting right there by Mark.
So the wild pitch by Kamenicki costs him a run as it put Gates in scoring position, and McGuire comes through. 5-2, New York leading Oakland.
Mattingly's playing behind Mark McGuire. It's the right move with a left-hand hitter up. McGuire, I'm sure, is not a threat to steal, even if he was healthy, and they don't want to take any chances. They got him back. They certainly don't want to lose him again. Jason Giambi at the plate, a count of 0-1. He struck out in the second.
And the slider is low, a ball and a strike. Jason Giambi, interesting story, the way he quickly came through this athletic system. He played his college ball at Long Beach State and had a very successful career there. Susan mentioned he played on the Olympic team, but he really came through the system very quickly because of the opportunity as LaRussa and Sandy Alderson tried to get some youth into this lineup. And, you know, his family history, he has a brother who played on that Cal State Fullerton team that won the College World Series just this past June. It's Jeremy Giambi. And I asked Jason, well, you got a little rivalry there. You know, who's the better hitter? He said, I'm in the big leagues. It has to be me.
So far, anyway.
That's a pretty good baseball family, both playing in major colleges, and now Jason in the big leagues with the Athletics. Now the 1-2 in the dirt and a nice block by Stanley.
And of course, with the infield situation being as up in the air as it's been all year for Oakland, McGuire going down, and they really don't have an everyday third baseman. Haven't really had one since Carney Lansford retired. Paquette's been playing it. Brocious plays it a little bit. Giambi is a third baseman, and the switch to first has really helped him get up to the majors.
Well, if you can be versatile and make an adjustment and make a move when a spot's available, and open the door for you, you get a starting position.
The 2-2 has popped up. Velarde out. Fernandez out. And it's Velarde, the second baseman. He makes the catch. And 2 men are out. Well, now it's time for tonight's Toyota Diamond Dust Baseball Fact. Fact, in 1993, Jason Beret and Tom Glavine each won 6 games from September 1st to the end of the season. Our quiz tonight, name the only major league pitcher in the past 50 years to win 8 games from September the 1st to the end of the season. That's a tough one. We'll have the answer for you. Let you ponder that. Get out those books. And you know what is interesting is they don't give you the answer, so we're going to have to guess.
Don't lie.
Here's Steinbach at the plate. Struck out his first at-bat.
Well, I do know one that came up in 1-9 at the end of a season, but I don't know it was September 1st.
Well, that's a
All
good
right, let's
stretch
write it
run.
down. Write it down.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Inside with a fastball, it's 2-0.
It's interesting how Kamenicki has pitched the young hitters. He's gone to breaking ball and off-speed stuff predominantly, then coming inside to jam them. And the veteran hitters in this lineup, he's thrown predominantly more fastballs and mixed in his breaking ball. Young hitters are going to get fooled by off-speed pitches and breaking balls, and a crafty. This is a fastball here. No, you threw it right by him, really. Jeez, put a little something extra on that. The catcher, it's always interesting to me. Catchers set up outside that time, and that ball got inside. So pitchers can't throw it where they want it.
And the 2-1 is high. It's 3-1. Well, maybe you could explain to me and to the fans exactly what is this monster that every pitcher now strives for called a cut fastball. Exactly what do they do with that?
Well, it's difficult to describe. If I had a ball in my hand, it's not like it's like a half slider, and the good ones it just breaks late and maybe 2 inches, and the key is where you locate it, obviously.
So it adds a tail to the pitch. 3-1 is grounded foul. Full count on Steinbach.
So obviously you don't want to throw any pitch down the middle, and the key is that it breaks a couple inches late. You want to throw it started on the inside corner or the outside corner, and it breaks off the plate for a ball where you don't get hurt. It's a very good bait, what you call a bait pitch.
And a couple of the guys, Kamenicki and Andy Pettit, throw that cutter. It moves in. It almost looks like a slider there. Kamenicki was working on his slider with Nardi Contreras. You saw him in the dugout. We saw him in the dugout when Andy Pettit was pitching, working on a wrist action with Nardi Contreras. And what he was doing was trying to snap that slider instead of coming around with it. His slider actually acts like a little cutter.
Steinbach broke his bat. He went back for a piece of lumber, and it didn't matter. He swings through the slider, and down on strikes goes Steinbach. A's pick up a run on a couple of base hits. We go to the bottom of the 4th. 5-2 New York. Yankee Stadium. Yankees leading the Athletics 5-2 as Scott Kamenicki has kept the A's in check, except for Mark McGuire, who has a solo home run and an RBI single. And there's Kamenicki on the bench talking with Sterling Hitchcock in the middle and Andy Pettit. A couple of left-handers explaining the movement on those balls and those pitches.
All right, this is what I was talking about before. There's pitching coach Nardi Contreras, and Kamenicki's got the ball, and he's telling him not to come around. He wants him to snap his wrist straight down. Hold the ball that way, and he'll show you in a minute. Because Kamenicki has a tendency to go over the side instead of coming straight down.
Right. And you're hold the ball a little off center. That's why he wants him to snap straight down. I think it's a little easier on your arm, on your elbow, as opposed to when you throw the curveball or the hard slider. It's a tremendous strain on your elbow.
There's Tony Fernandez, a fastball low, 1-0. Well, I guess that tells you Kamenicki's a good student. Tuesday, he's shown the wrist action. He's coming out here tonight. He's throwing that pitch very well.
Well, this is a kid. He's not young anymore. He's 30 years old. He spent a lot of time in the minor leagues because his emotional outbursts really kept him from pitching the way he could, and he wants to stay here, and he'll do anything he can to do that.
Fernandez fouls it back, 2-1. Tony's 0 for 1. He grounded out to second in the second.
And I think you've got to say that Tony Fernandez has been a tremendous disappointment for the Yankees, particularly at the plate, hitting .243. Just got over 200 hitting from the right side of the plate this year.
Right back to Van Poppel, little ice cream cone, but a nice play to stay with it. He guns down Fernandez, and one man out. Well, here's Keith asked for a baseball, and you ask and you receive. Now, show me that cutter there. Maybe I can throw that.
I think when you have the cutter, I don't know if you can see, you throw a fastball center of the ball. When you throw the cutter, you want to be a little off center, and you throw it like a fastball, and it doesn't have the telltale sign where the seams on a slider make a tight red circle. You don't have that telltale sign, so a hitter, you can't recognize that it's going to be a breaking ball, which is very important. That's what the split finger fork ball does too. A fastball, excuse me.
In my case, I don't think it would have mattered. There's Kamenicki on the bench.
Kamenicki sitting next to Hitchcock, who pitched last night, got the win, but didn't make it out of the 6th inning. He was really pleased with his outing. He said he didn't have any stuff, and the fact that he could get to the 6th inning was outstanding, is the word he used. Very young, Sterling Hitchcock, yesterday's pitchers, only 23.
1-2 on Velarde, who walked and scored his first at-bat. One out here in the 4th. Velarde goes the opposite way, but Baroa has a play, and he'll make the catch to retire Velarde, and 2 men are out. Well, here's tonight's Diamond Dust answer. Name the only Major League pitcher in the past 50 years to win 8 games from September 1st to the end of the season. And the answer is Johnny Sain. He went 8-1 from September 3rd to October 2nd for the Boston Braves back in 1948. And Johnny Sain, of course, is the man who taught Leo Mazzoni all he knows. And all Leo Mazzoni does is go out, the pitching coach of the Braves, and take care of the best staff in baseball.
Got that right.
Wade Boggs at the plate, a count of 0-1. And the fastball low, a ball and a strike. Wade doubled and scored in the 1st, and then a rare at-bat for Boggs in the 2nd. Not only struck out, but it was a called 3rd strike. He was fooled by a Van Poppel breaking ball. 2-1 on Wade.
Well, it would be nice to get a 1-2-3 inning for Van Poppel here. He's got 6 in a row. Looks like he's starting to get his rhythm. Unfortunately, he's given up 5 runs, but all 5 with 2 outs, and 3 of those 5 runs have been on his 3 walks in the game. Walks will kill you.
There's Dave Duncan, hoping he can keep this streak going. Up, he loses Boggs. There's base on balls number 4. He had retired 6 in a row.
Now there's another problem with 2 outs, and Keith, for a young pitcher, is that part of the maturation progress? You get 2 guys out and then you just can't put the 3rd one away.
Well, I think every individual is different. What I see of Van Poppel is he's got a great arm. He's got a great curveball, fastball. His changeup needs work. He's 23 years old. He's young, and hopefully he hones his skills, and down the road when he learns to get complete control of those pitches, he can't help but win with that stuff.
He gets a strike over to Bernie Williams, who has been up twice, he has walked twice, and he has scored twice.
You don't want to walk Wade Boggs. He's not a power hitter. Bernie Williams certainly has 15 home runs this year. You want to take your chances with Wade Boggs.
And you have a hitter at the plate, Keith, who is as much confidence probably as he's ever had in his career right now. He is red hot and is very anxious to get in there and take another hack.
And he's walked twice tonight and scored 2 runs. So they know he's hot.
Fastball for a strike. It's 1-2. And this shows you something, or can tell you something, about a young pitcher and the maturing process. He walks Boggs with 2 outs and nobody on. Let's see how he pitches to Bernie Williams to work out of a jam, or if he allows it to affect his concentration.
He put down 4 fingers. Should be a changeup. See, he kind of gives away his changeup in his motion too. He hasn't perfected that pitch. And as a hitter, if you're hitting off a pitcher who alters his motion at the slightest bit on any particular pitch, that's Western Union, and that's a tremendous advantage. I'm sure that's something they're working with him right now, I'm sure, very strongly.
There's the curveball. He hits it to second. And Gates goes to Bordick for the force, and no damage done. The Yankees go down in the 4th. Nothing across, a man left. We go to the 5th. Yankees 5, Athletics 2.
I can't wait when football starts. Like, I'm anxious.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
You don't have to wait long.
I'll be glued to the set on Sunday.
Kickoff 95 weekend. Stan Javier leads off in the 5th. Oh, 1-1 on Javier. Well,
You know you're getting old when you remember somebody's father who played. Julian Javier, of course, who played for St. Louis, was the only guy who had a hit off of Jim Lomborg in that one hitter he threw in the World Series, 67.
and there's one towards the middle. Fernandez can't reach it. It's through for a base hit. So Javier, a leadoff single, as Fernandez with a good effort going to his left, but the ball just squeaked on past him. And Javier, a leadoff single for the Athletics.
Is Javier, the ball breaks down, but not quite enough, and he just gets the good part of the wood on the bat right up the middle. Fernandez actually playing a little bit further over towards third base than they usually do for Javier, who does hit straight away.
Talking it over with Don Mattingly.
Actually, it was a pretty good curveball on the outside corner. I thought it was just a nice piece of hitting right there.
Here's Craig Paquette, Athletics third baseman. Javier back in standing.
Now, if you're going to throw a curve like that and you want it to break, wouldn't you want it to break a little more if you're going to throw it right down the middle of the plate?
Well, I think your curveball, your pitcher hit curveball, he knows his maximum break. It's more location. That ball broke enough and it was sharp. And he's had a great command of his curveball today. What I'm saying was it was knee-high outside corner where he wants it, and the guy hit it. He's getting paid to do a job, too. You got to tip your hat there. Sometimes they hit those nasty pitches.
And the pitch to Paquette is high, 1-0. You saw Stan Javier there trying to get the attention of third base coach Tommy Reynolds. He thought he missed a sign. Reynolds now going through the signs. But as Javier looked over and signaled, Reynolds did nothing on the way back. And the 1-0 is high and tight, and look out, Craig Paquette.
I would be surprised down 5-2 here that they would put anything on, hit and run or a straight steal. You're down 3 runs. Little chin music. Hello, wake-up call.
Now that is the one thing that really drives Tony La Russa crazy, is not so much a brushback pitch, but one that comes up near the head.
Well, of course, he's got a person on that team that's been hit as much as anybody in the head, and that's Mark McGwire, particularly early in his career. McGwire, 2 or 3 times I remember seeing him go down in the same 3 or 4 weeks. Tony keeps great records of all kinds of things, and that's something that he also watches very, very carefully.
We'll see what this pitch is following the brushback. See if he goes away. The catcher is setting up away, but let's see if he goes with a breaking ball or the fastball. I hate pitchers. I don't hate them, but I think it's wrong if you throw an up and in pitch to come back with a breaking ball away. You don't have to come back with a breaking ball.
And line to left field, that's a base hit. So the Athletics have something going, first and second, nobody out. Right now, we're going to go to Hannah Storm.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Seattle at Baltimore tonight, where 15-game winner Mike Mussina is struggling. He had already given up a first-inning home run to Joey Cora, and this is in the 5th. The home run by Dan Wilson. It's a solo shot, so Seattle leads this game by a score of 3-2. The Mariners sharing the wild card lead coming in, remember, and a couple of division leaders going at it in Boston. Tied at 2, bottom to third, the Angels and the Red Sox. When Mike Greenwell gets the single, off Sean Bosky. That scores Mo Vaughn. Boston takes a 3-2 lead as the Angels are hoping to snap a 6-game losing streak. Let's send it back to the trio at Yankee Stadium.
Mike Bordick looks over a slider, and it's a call strike. Bordick lined out to right field his first at-bat. This is a possible sacrifice situation here. Bordick bunts very well. He handles the bat very well. At first and second, nobody out, a chance to maybe score 2.
Well, if this were the National League, the number 9 here would be the pitcher, and it would be a sacrifice.
And nothing up there, and he looks it over for a ball. So the wild card races are hot and heavy. And these two teams right in the thick of it. Tommy Reynolds, the third base coach, he flashed a quick sign at Bordick.
Now look at Kamenicki's body language. It's starting to change. He's starting to get very frustrated with himself. A long look. He's wandering around on the mound.
And he nearly had Javier picked off. Javier looked as if he was going to go and broke too soon before Kamenicki offered. And if not for the fact that neither Tony Fernandez or Velarde could get there, he would have been picked off.
Again, I'm just very surprised that he would even attempt to steal here. You've got an inning brewing here. You got first and second, nobody out. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning. Certainly you don't want to get picked off. You're down 3 runs. This has the possibilities to get back in the game here. You got after Bordick, you've got top of the order.
The 1-1, the breaking ball for a strike, and it's 1-2. Well, there goes your hit and run possibility.
Now the Yankees will use that pickoff move to second quite a bit. They did it in Oakland with almost the same situation with runners on first and second, and they'll do it a lot. Pettit does it very well. Kamenicki does it. They'll have Hitchcock do it also.
And Kamenicki got away with a hanging breaking ball up and down the middle, and Bordick couldn't pull the trigger.
Average leads for the runners at first and second. And he just missed 2-2. Kamenicki has yet to walk a batter. He struck out 3. Buck Showalter, whose expression rarely, if ever, changes. You know, if you turned on a game and looked at Buck, you'd have no idea how the game was going. Buck flashing a sign to Mike Stanley and has relayed it to Kamenicki.
I'm sure they'd like to get this count to 3-2. And they got it. Now we'll see if he puts the runners in motion. Again, you're down 3 runs. I wouldn't do this. It depends on Bordick. Has he got good back control? I don't think he strikes out a lot. It's the manager's call here, and if it backfires, a strike 3 and throw out the runner at third base, you run yourself out of an inning.
Well, what you have here with La Russa and Showalter, 2 managers who love to manage. And the strategy going here. And there they go, and the pitch is fouled off. Bordick staying alive and protecting the runners. You saw La Russa looking at his third base coach, Tommy Reynolds. And Showalter flashing signs to Stanley, so the strategies here are going. As La Russa tries to edge closer while Showalter hopes his pitcher keeps it close.
And you don't have to do it again now. You've put the thought in Kamenicki's mind that they're running. It puts a little more pressure on the pitcher. Now, don't put the pressure on the batter here. Some batters may put the pressure on themselves to feel that they have to swing. It's 3-2. Hold your runners this time.
They're both going, and the pitch is swung on and fouled off. And there's Bordick with that excellent back control, just slapping that ball foul to stay alive.
And you see Stanley's now looking into the dugout before every pitch, so he's now getting the signs from Showalter in the dugout. Showalter very stoked, not unlike La Russa, but Buck actually believes that if he stays consistent, doesn't get too high or too low, and just is always the same, his players will play that way.
Well, there's the sign for Stanley, and there it goes to Kamenicki. We'll see what the runners do here. There they go, and it's swung on and missed, but no throw. No throw by Stanley as Bordick got in his way just a bit. But Stanley didn't feel, and look at Showalter looking quizzically at Stanley.
I think the play called for them giving the run to third base and trying to get the guy out at second. But not to get a throw. I would feel that you'd have to try to throw him out at third base. You've got the shorter throw.
Well, Boggs never covered at third, so
well, that's
no play there.
That's getting away with it right there. I mean, Mattingly's playing behind the runner at first base. He can get a bigger lead. You've got a longer throw to second base. The runner has less to worry about getting picked off and get a better jump. It seems to me the play was to try to throw the runner out at third.
Here's Rickey with a chance to drive in a couple. One man out. Good swing and a foul back. Rickey is 0 for 2 on the night.
And Susan, you were right earlier when you said they're throwing Rickey inside. They've been throwing him inside the whole game. Predominantly in the first 2 at bats, and let him off right there. Came right inside on him.
Well, scouts will say that because of the wrists, and Rickey will tell you all those years of hitting second base and third base with his wrists, they're too weak, and he can't turn on that fastball the way he used to.
Breaking ball, he watches it go by, and a ball and a strike on Rickey.
And of course that one went on the outside corner of the plate.
So interesting, Lou Brock, when I was a young kid, always never slid head first. He said you get to the bag faster sliding feet first, and you're less chance of injury. Lou Brock was my mentor. Yes, he's the one that took me under his wing. I owe a lot of my career success to Lou Brock. When I was in a fastball inside, this is not a strike.
Well, it is a strike.
It is a strike. If you're a hitter and you put you 1 and 2 right there in a critical pitch, 2 and 1 and 1 and 2 is such a big difference. You got to look at them and go, please don't do that to me in this situation.
Crowd getting into it. Rickey, of course, the former Yankee. And these Yankee fans, they love to see those former Yankees not do well when they're back in the Bronx. There's a bouncer foul wide of third.
You know, pick up what you were saying on sliding head first. Rickey, of course, when he was a Yankee, he'd go through stretches where he'd strike out a lot, and I'd see him in the locker room using weights with his wrist, and he told me that actually it hurt his wrist muscles to slide, and every once in a while he'd have to build them back up again with little hand weights.
Every little bit helps.
1 and 2 the count, 1 man out. Javier at third and Craig Paquette at second. There are the runners. The Yankees lead at 5-2 here in the 5th. A base hit, and the A's are right back in it.
Setting up away.
And he goes out there, but Henderson with excellent control at the plate. He's very patient, and he lets it go by.
Well, this is a veteran hitter here, and this is a critical at bat, and Rickey knows that. And for a leadoff hitter, Rickey has always been a good RBI man, and he's bearing down this at bat. This is a good struggle right here between the pitcher and the hitter, which I feel is what the game's all about.
Rickey's now in his 17th major league season.
Setting up away again.
And it's lined to center field. That's a base hit. Here comes Javier. Paquette rounding third. The throw will be cut by Mattingly, and the A's are right back in it. A 2-run single by Henderson. It's a 5-4 Yankee lead.
And Rickey, of course, they've been setting him up inside and then outside, and Cam Minnicky just misses with that. That really is a little high on the outside part of the plate. Rickey gets the good wood on the bat right up the middle. There's that stride he has. Beautiful swing, and knew exactly where he was going with that. Right back up the middle of the second base.
And he shortened his swing there, too. He had 2 strikes on him. He wasn't going to have the power swing. Base hit puts him back in the ballgame, 5-4. Cam Minnicky wanted to come away with a fastball low, and got it upstairs.
And there's Mariano Rivera, the kid that we all learned about this year. He really has come up fast through the Yankees system. Started an A-ball actually last year. He'll throw a fastball and a slider. He's a fine talent. Not used to pitching in relief, though. He gets a little nervous when he has to come in relief.
So it's interesting when you have 2 ball clubs that are playing well. A 5-1 lead is not secure. When a team's playing well like the A's have been playing on the road here, they come in here and they fought right back into this ballgame.
There's Rickey Henderson and Don Mattingly, former teammates.
And very good friends, by the way. You wouldn't think so, but first time Rickey came back after being traded, he and Donnie hugging at the batting cage. Very good friends. Really appreciate each other.
Kamenicki will have to keep an eye on Rickey there. And the breaking ball outside, 1-0. Rickey, 26 stolen bases on the year, so even though he's getting up there in age at 36, he still can steal a base. No one has been better in the history of this game than Rickey Henderson. As he reads Kamenicki as he comes off the base.
It's a good situation for him to steal, too. And also, if you're Baroa, they've been throwing him nothing but breaking balls. This is a situation now with Ricky at first. Maybe you want to put a hold sign on so you can get a fastball. Because it's pretty apparent, you let him off with a curveball, that they feel this kid's a fastball hitter. With Ricky there, a possible threat to steal, raises your chances to get a fastball to hit.
He bluffs, doesn't go, and Baroa takes, and it's 2-0. Geronimo Baroa was originally drafted by the Blue Jays a long time ago. 1984, signed by the super scout of the Jays, Epi Guerrero, and thus began his long odyssey, which has led him to Oakland, where he has found a home for Tony La Russa. The 2-0 and a high fly to deep right field. O'Neill going back, and there it goes. 2-run home run for Baroa. The Yankee killer continues to dominate New York pitching, and the 2-run shot has given the Athletics a 6-5 lead here in the 5th. And oh, did this happen quickly. Single, single, single home run, and the Athletics are now on top. For Baroa, that's home run number 19 and 74 RBIs for Geronimo.
Well, here's the pitch again. Almost identical to the pitch to Henderson. Fastball upstairs, wanted to go away. He's starting to get his fastball up, and when you start getting your pitches up and out over the plate, you're asking for an early shower.
And that's also the strength of Baroa, to be able to take it the opposite way and hit it out into the right field stands like that. And you can always see this coming with Kamenicki, because he starts wandering around on the mound and he gets very, very frustrated with himself. And Mike Stanley going out to talk to him now, and it might be too late. Obviously trying to buy time now for young Mariano Rivera.
Well, in the series in Oakland on the recent road trip, the Athletics swept the Yankees, and Kamenicki allowed a big 2-run home run to Baroa, and that'll be all for Scott tonight, as here comes Buck Showalter, who has seen enough. 4 runs into the inning, still only 1 man out, and the Athletics have rallied to take the lead at 6-5. And Rivera will come on in. Now the Yankee fans, the Bluebirds out tonight. Yankee fans know the opportunity here, and watching Kamenicki get first the 3-0 lead and then 5-1. Now trailing 6-5. We'll be back.
Look, you're not going to believe this, but Goodyear retailers have lowered prices 25%.
Who, in his last start against Oakland, this was August the 22nd in Oakland, you see him peeking at first, and the location of that pitch up in the zone, and Baroa goes deep. That one out in center field at the Coliseum, as Bernie Williams couldn't reach it. And now tonight, Ricky at first. He's peeking. And the pitch to Baroa, same spot. The only difference is it was out over the plate, and Baroa goes the opposite way. And another 2-run home run, and Baroa continues his barrage, not only on the Yankee pitching, but on Scott Kamenicki. And Baroa, the man, we mentioned the fact that he was drafted in 1984, and you talk about a guy who has hung on and made the most of his chance. In his career, Baroa has been released twice. He was a Rule 5 acquisition from Atlanta after spending 6 years in the minor leagues. He had his contract sold once, and twice he has moved and changed teams as a free agent. And here at 30 years of age, he's getting a chance to play every day for Tony La Russa and making the most of his opportunity. And the big difference with him in developing as a hitter, Keith, is the fact that they've worked with him to show him you're a line drive hitter that has pop. You're not necessarily a power hitter. And as long as he remembers that and doesn't overswing, he's very, very effective.
Well, the home run is very seductive to hitters.
And Brent Gates, first ball swinging at the offering by Rivera, and he grounds out to second as Velarde gets him, and 2 men are out.
Rivera will throw a fastball, and a slider has tremendous movement on both, and they're saying that he has been a starter his whole career, but I think this is his spot. He is going to be a fine setup man one of these days. Really does have just those 2 pitches, but he's a fine young talent. And his first cousin, Ruben Rivera, who is one of the crown jewels of the Yankee organization, will be here on Sunday.
And here's Mark McGwire. He takes it low, 1-0. McGwire has a big night going, a solo home run in the second, and an RBI single in the 4th. And a call strike. He got it over at the knees.
And he came inside, so he's not afraid to throw inside. to this big slugger here. I like that. Don't get carried away, though.
Check swing.
Came back
too
in.
far. You know, you see McGuire, and now with 28 home runs on the year, and even though he's battled injuries this year, it's nothing like he's been through the previous 2 years with the heel surgery, and he goes down. Stanley couldn't hold on. The last 2 years combined, he's had surgery on his left heel twice. And over the last 2 years, a total of just 18 home runs. Then comes 1995, and now he's up to 28 home runs and 67 RBIs. And a pop foul, he'll get another swing.
Well, he's not fooling around. It's 4 straight fastballs coming right after McGuire.
He's got terrific little tail on the end of the fastball. Great movement, late break, as Buck would call it. That's going to be very frustrating when you see a fastball and all of a sudden it moves at the very end.
It's called a sneaky fastball, and he's got the advantage because I'm sure McGuire has not faced him that much. He's not real sure of what he has, or has not faced. He has faced him, but not enough to get a feel yet.
Actually, I think Mariano pitched in Oakland for his very first win when he first came up.
The 2-2 is low, and McGuire works the count full.
That was back in May. Mariano has been since down to the minors and back up again.
Well, in a situation like this, too, I'm sure, is Mike Stanley calling the pitches, not Rivera.
Yes.
Mariano, here's what you throw me. And the payoff pitch is high, and there's the veteran hitter. McGuire got behind. He works the walk. And the inning goes on. Here comes the 8th batter to hit, Jason Giambi. That's the first walk issued by Yankee pitching. Kamenicki hit his 4 1/3. Struck out 4, did not walk a batter, and there's Van Poppel on the bench. He was trailing 5-2 when he went to the bench, and now he has a 6-5 lead.
Rivera has tremendous numbers, guys, in the daylight because of the sneaky fastball. It's hard to pick up, and he just is terrific when the sun is shining.
Here's Giambi, takes a fastball for a strike.
I always like to hit at night. I saw the ball better at night as opposed to day. I have to agree with that. But then again, I know guys that like to hit better in the day. So.
0-1 is high and away.
Is that because you person?
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe it's because you played more night games.
Well, yes. I don't know how I would have done as a Cub. That, to me, would have been so difficult, particularly coming off a 10-day road trip and playing night games and coming home without an off day and playing all-day games.
Swing and a miss and a healthy cut for Giambi.
Well, if you're on the bench here, you know this guy's going to throw you the gas, and he's not afraid to throw it.
Well, that one was right there, and Giambi came up empty. McGuire takes his lead. Mattingly behind McGuire. And it's a call, strike 3, and a beautiful pitch by Rivera. And he battles back to get Giambi after walking Mark McGuire. So Geronimo Baroa with the 2-run home run has the Athletics on top. 6-5. Yankees coming to bat in the 5th. Leading the Yankees now 6-5. Yanks coming to bat in the bottom of the 5th. Well, tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, the tradition of Notre Dame football returns to NBC Sports. The star quarterback Ron Paulus will lead Lou Holtz's number 8 Fighting Irish against the Wildcats of Northwestern. Notre Dame football's home on NBC tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. The Fighting Irish hosting Northwestern right here on NBC. Paul O'Neill will get it going for the Yankees in the bottom of the 5th. And first ball swinging, he fouls it back. O'Neill, Sierra, and Deion James, 3, 4, and 5. The heart of Buck Showalter's lineup tonight. Paul drove in a couple of runs his last at bat with a double. So let's see how Van Poppel now reacts to the generosity of his teammates in a 6-5 lead. And a fastball for a strike, and he's ahead 0-2.
O'Neill's really struggled in the second half of this season despite what happened last night. Since the All-Star break, he's only hitting .271. He had a batting average of .346, now batting .311. So he's had a tough couple of months.
And the fastball just misses.
Well, actually, .271 is not so bad. It's not the .343, which is an awesome first half. The fact that he got the double the opposite field the last at bat tells me he's coming out of the slump.
And a big breaking ball for strike 3, and O'Neill knew it.
And that is a nasty breaking ball.
Well, let's see in the first when he flied out to center field. He didn't do much to that water cooler. We'll have to watch him here. What a pitch by Todd Van Poppel. He got ahead, he set him up for his pitch, and then he threw a beauty.
And that's as good a breaking ball that a major leaguer will see. That is just a brilliant pitch. It seems to be getting his rhythm, and this is an important inning for him, because anytime your team scores, particularly and puts you ahead, the next inning, half inning, you got to go out there and put a goose egg up.
And here's Sierra. He swings and misses. Changeup 0-1.
You want to keep the momentum on your side. It's the most important inning for a pitcher, I feel, when his team scores, to throw a goose egg up the next half inning.
And the fastball low, a ball and a strike. Sierra 0 for 2. He popped foul to third and struck out swinging in the second. Wide with a fastball, 2-1 on Sierra.
Now, when the team was in Oakland last week, Sierra was going for those outside pitches and just striking out, and he just looked very bad there. At least he's being a little more selective now.
And a bouncer foul, back of the plate. It's 2-2. Todd Van Poppel battling his former teammate Sierra. Sierra acquired in the Danny Tartable trade.
Sierra with that open stance from the left side, has a closed stance from the right side. He's moved up a little bit in the box since he's come back home off of the road trip.
2-2 is outside. He lays off and the count goes full.
Really wants to do well against the Oakland A's. A very sensitive man, and really is uptight about the whole thing that went on with Sandy Alderson and Tony La Russa, the problems that they had.
And a curveball that slips out of his hand, ball 4. That is the 5th walk issued by Van Poppel. He has walked 5 and struck out 5.
This is just throw this one away. I'm sure. Let's not watch this one. I'm with Van Poppel. They'll just say, well, just trash this one. That one was abort mission.
Look at the look on La Russa. What was that? It's lucky it was so badly out of the strike zone.
You'd rather, if you're going to throw a back curveball, you don't want to leave it over the middle. You might as well throw it where they can't hit it.
Here's Deion James in a fastball high.
Wouldn't you love to have a split screen and have La Russa on one half and Showalter on another for an entire inning?
I know. You'd get more emotion out of Tony, I think. And the fastball misses. It's 2-0. Now, Deion James, a veteran hitter here. He steps out and looks down at Willie Randolph, the third base coach, flashing signs. Deion can be selective here. He's got a young pitcher on the mound, now behind 2-0. And he takes again, and the count to 3-0.
Looked like he kind of aimed that ball, wanted to throw a strike instead of just being free and let it go.
Dwyer holds the bag on Sierra, so a wide open area there for James, and he takes high, ball 4, and that one wasn't close. So back-to-back walks, and Van Poppel, after striking out Paul O'Neill, back-to-back walks, and here comes the boss, pitching coach Dave Duncan.
And I think they better get someone up in that bullpen. These games are just too critical right now for both teams.
There's some scurrying about out there. There's Briscoe. He's going to get up, the right-hander. Well, this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without express written consent from the Office of the Commissioner. So the right-hander John Briscoe beginning to loosen in the Athletics bullpen in deep left center field, and Todd Van Poppel talks it over with pitching coach Dave Duncan and catcher Terry Steinbach, or we should say Duncan talked it over with him. And here's Mattingly in a big spot for the Yankee captain. And a fastball for a strike. Don in the game is 1 out of 2. He had an infield hit and an RBI in the first.
Don just said something to the umpire. He didn't like that call. He thought it was up.
First and second, 1 man out. And a line drive and a base hit to left field. Sierra had to hold up. Randolph's going to wave him. Now he holds him. Up goes the stop sign, and a good thing he did as Henderson got to the ball quickly. Ruben Sierra had a hold up because it looked as if Bordick might have a play. Good base running there by Ruben Sierra. And the ball goes through, a base hit for Mattingly, and the Yankees have the bases loaded.
And there's a fastball upstairs in the outside corner where they've been getting them the first 2 at-bats. Don shortened up his swing. And you're correct. Sierra, excellent base running. You can't get doubled up in that situation.
And now you have a situation here, and you can hear the Yankee fans getting into it. Sierra at third. Deion James at second, and Mattingly at first, and Mr. Bases loaded, Mike Stanley is at the plate. And the pitch is low, 1-0. Talking about a guy who thrives with the bases loaded. Here's your man.
Another inning now where Van Poppel's got in trouble with 2 walks.
And the pitch is low, and it's 2-0. This year, Stanley is 7 out of 8 with a walk, all with the bases loaded. And throughout his career, he has touched them all 8 grand slams. The 2-0 is low, and it's 3-0.
Kind of the modern version of Pat Tabler, if you remember him back then.
All right, Buck, what do? You got Mr. Bases loaded at the plate, 3-0. Do you let him swing?
Take. You got to take. He's struggling. He's doing Archie Bell and the drills out there. He's doing the tighten up.
And he was taken all the way, and it's high, ball 4, and it forces in the tying run. And Van Poppel did not like the call of Tim Sheeta. And it doesn't appear as if Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa liked the call either. RBI for Mike Stanley, number 73, and we're tied at 6.
Van Poppel, well, it was on the outside corner of the plate, wouldn't you think?
I think it's a strike.
Yep.
A lot of times umpires get mad when they get a pitcher out there that throws balls and they won't give him the close call. That was a strike.
Well, that's going to be all for Todd Van Poppel, who is very upset at the call by Tim Sheeta. And Tony La Russa not wanting this game to get out of hand. The tying run already in, and the bases still loaded. And only 1 man out, so he's going to go to the pen. As John Briscoe grabs his jacket, he'll head on in. And Van Poppel will leave.
And Briscoe started the year on the DL with some tendinitis, and he's got a history of control problems. He hasn't pitched against the Yankees this year. What you do is try and get him to get the ball up. He'll throw a split and a breaking pitch, and he'll throw it in the dirt. He can't throw them for strikes, so you got to wait him out.
Todd Van Poppel about to head down the runway, and, well, look out below. So John Briscoe coming into a 6-6 game in a big spot for the Athletics. Oakland rallied in the top half of this inning with 4 runs to take a 6-5 lead, and the Yankees have battled back. Well, elsewhere, the Royals right in the thick of this wild card race, as is Texas. And the Royals are red hot, and they lead it there. 5-1.
Johnny Damon, another home run. Johnny Damon sounds like he should open for Ann Margaret at the Sands.
The Royals have won 5 in a row and 8 out of 10. You see the Brewers leading Minnesota. Milwaukee just coming off a sweep by Kansas City. They're trying to snap a 4-game losing streak tonight. Mariners leading at Baltimore as the Orioles continue to struggle. Baltimore's lost 7 out of 10. The Mariners, though, have won 5 of 7. Red Sox and Angels, a battle of first-place teams. Roger Clemens was to start that game. Rogers pitching very well. Sandy Alomar with a home run for Cleveland. The Tribe trying to get playoff tough. And the White Sox leading Toronto 5-2. The wild card race is on, and there is a dejected Todd Van Poppel. And Keith, we talked about it. How was he going to handle the lead given to him by his teammates? He got Paul O'Neill and looked very good in getting O'Neill on a called 3rd strike to lead off the inning. But he walked Sierra, he walked James, a base hit to Mattingly, and a walk to Stanley.
Well, he pitched 4 1/3 innings, 6 earned runs, 7 walks. That's just courting danger right there. It's a young pitcher that, well, here's the pitch again. And this right to me, it's a strike. I mean, come on up.
Well, You know, they're talking about all of these ways to speed up the game and all these gadgets and things. I have a novel idea. Call a strike. Let's get out the little rule book, look at the picture, and what's a legal strike in the book. I'm not telling them to make it up. Just look at the little picture. That's it. That's all they have to do. And you know what? That's even in the rule book. You don't have to change a thing. Pitchers would like it. I don't know if the hitters would.
I think you get a sending vote there.
I always get on the soapbox when I'm next to a hitter. I have to do this when I'm with a pitcher. So here's Tony Fernandez, and the base is loaded. And a line drive to right field. Going back is Baroa. He'll make the catch. Tagging at third and heading for the plate is Deion James. Mattingly goes to third. Sac fly and an RBI for Fernandez, and the Yankees have regained the lead 7-6. And Fernandez hit that ball very well. And Keith, there's a good veteran hitter there. The relief pitcher comes in the game. It's a tight spot. He looks for the fastball. He jumps all over it.
Well, I always, with the bases loaded, the pressure's on the relief pitcher coming in. He's got the bases loaded. He can't walk you. He doesn't want to get behind. That's first ball hitting right there. First ball, fastball hitting. And Tony just jumped all over the first fastball, and there you go. I mean, that very well could have been a grand slam or a double.
And Baroa almost made it into something very interesting. Never been known as a great outfielder. Seemed to misjudge it and just had to get his hand up in the last minute.
So Baroa made the play. Mattingly with heads-up base running. He tagged and made his way to third. And he's there now with 2 men out. Stanley held at first. And at the plate, Randy Velarde now ahead at 2-0.
Remember, as we said, Briscoe has a history of control problems, and Randy Velarde, a very smart hitter. He will not swing at anything that is not a strike.
The 2-0 pitch is low, and it's 3-0.
Well, from a pitcher's point of view, you don't want to face Wade Boggs. This is the, well, who's up next? Wade's up next. Yeah, you want this man. You're behind 3-0. You walk the bases loaded. You got a guy who is not going to strike out. A veteran hitter. This is the hitter you want.
A lot of work to do, and he lost them. 4 pitches, 4 balls. And the bases are loaded once again for Boggs. And as Tony La Russa goes back over this game as he jots down some notes, so far, 8 walks in the game. 2 of those walks are still on base. The other 6 have scored for the Yankees. First walk issued by Briscoe, and here's Boggs, who has 1 for 2 with a walk.
I mean, really, for major leagues to have 8 walks in 5 innings, it's not a very good display right there.
Wade looks it over, and it's a called strike.
Expansion of it.
Yes, it is. It's almost like a AAA box score here.
As they were earlier, they're playing Boggs to hit the other way. He tries to go that way, and he fouls it back. One of the more fascinating things about watching baseball games is how the managers utilize the scouting reports. And you see Stan Javier there in center field. He's well over towards the gap in left center. A lot of room in straightaway center field, and a lot of room down the right field line.
I would even move the right fielder over more to the 385 sign. Get him way over in the gap.
Here's the 0-2, a check swing, and he got the call. Call, third strike. Briscoe got the call. So Boggs, for the second time in the game, very uncharacteristic of Wade. He's called out on strikes twice. We go to the 6th. The Yankees have the lead, 7-6.
At Texas, top of the 5th, the Royals have Tom Goodwin on third, Greg Gagne on first. When they go for the double steal, Pudge Rodriguez with a throw to second. Perfect timing by Goodwin as he breaks for home and beats the throw. His 39th steal of the season. He leads the American League, and the Royals lead 5-1 over the Rangers. Angels at the Red Sox in the 5th. Boston is up 4-2 when Tim Naring with the triple under the glove of Tim Salmon. It rolls to the wall. He brings across 2 more runs. It is now 6-2 Red Sox, and unless the Angels can come back in this one, California is looking at a 7-game skid as they trail this one in the 6th now by a score of 6-2 back to Yankee Stadium.
And Steinbach looking at a strike where it's 1-2, and the Yankees with a 7-6 lead. And I'll tell you, watching the Kansas City Royals, you really have to give a lot of credit not only to Bob Boone but to Herc Robinson and the job they've done in transforming that team. They made a decision a couple of weeks back And they decided, well, if we're going to get it done, we're going to get it done with our future, get these kids up here, and we're going to get them experience. And they started to get rid of the veteran players and not only have those youngsters come up to gain experience, they are leading this team back in this charge, and the Royals are tied for the lead in this wild card race. In Kansas City has been red hot with a 5-game winning streak going into that game tonight.
And they move Vince Coleman. They send him to Seattle. Chris James is in Boston, and they've got all these kids. And if you look at this roster, there are very few names you know. Gaetti and Gagne and Joyner, and other than that, you got a lot of kids there who are hungry, want to play, and want to prove they belong in the major leagues.
They sent the veteran catcher Pat Borders to Houston. And the Royals are getting it done. They came in here on Monday to Yankee Stadium, and they had a 1-game series, one of the scheduling results of the players' strike, and the Royals snuck into town and snuck out with a 4-3 victory, and a big one.
They didn't even bring a complete roster. They brought just as many players as they needed and then left.
Well, when we started tonight, we talked about how this is a year of transition for the Athletics. Seasoned veterans, as we see Todd Stottlemyre, and he certainly fits that category in the right, talking it over with the youngster Todd Van Poppel. Stottlemyre is the present, Van Poppel the future of this team, and he's trying to talk to them about what he did in that inning and how to pitch with the lead and how you got to bear down and throw certain pitches and concentrate to make sure that you hold that lead for your club.
And what you're seeing in Stottlemyre is really a transformation for him. He's just about 30 now, and in Toronto, he was almost the other person. You had Stewart there, you had Jimmy Key all those years, and Stottlemyre was just sort of there. Now he is the leader of this pitching staff, the only veteran there.
It's sort of a natural process. A lot of players, when they come up, he had that veteran staff over there. He was the young guy. He gets traded to a new team. And all of a sudden, he's the veteran with a young staff, and they step into that role.
They got rid of Ron Darling. They got rid of Dave Stewart, who has stayed with the organization as assistant to the general manager, because he is certainly going to help, and they're going with kids.
And a foul back by Javier. He's behind 1-2, and you saw Stottlemyre there with his fingers about 1 inch apart, obviously talking about the strike zone of Tim Sheeta. Look, you missed by this much because he wouldn't give it to you. And how many conversations do you think Todd has had with his dad, Mel Stottlemyre, the former tremendous pitcher with the New York Yankees and longtime major league pitching coach now with the Astros, formerly with Keith Hernandez and the Mets. Javier gunned down, 2 men out.
Yes, Mel's a great guy, great pitching coach, great hearts player. Those card games on the plains. Play hearts, he can run them with the best of them. Holy cow.
Well, you see Todd there, he's got a little bit of pitching coach in him. Those must be very entertaining family dinners when the Stottlemyres get together. Of course, Mel Jr. also was a pro prospect. Yeah, he never made it, but
right.
Todd has done very well for himself. And, of course, Dad is the master. There's Craig Paquette.
I thought that Stottlemyre was the answer to that trivia. Wasn't he 9-0 when he came up as a rookie in the Yankees?
64. He had a big second half, that's for sure. Swinging a foul back. 1-1 the count on Paquette, who is 1 out of 2, a single and a run.
Well, I think that Todd's got to take this game and realize that he was his own worst enemy here with the 7 walks and 4 1/3. He just can't keep giving runners free passes and expect to win, not on any level.
Swing and a miss at a good fastball by Rivera. And Paquette behind 1-2. Rivera has some giddy up.
Well, there's no question what he's going to throw. It's number 1. And he got some serious gas.
Crowd getting into it, the 1-2. And he got him again, high heat. And Paquette down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Rivera. And the A's go 1-2-3 in the 6th. Yankees coming up in the bottom of the 6th. New York leading Oakland 7-6 Yankee Stadium. And the Yankees leading the Athletics 7-6 on a beautiful night for baseball on September the 1st. And the final month of the season and that playoff push beginning in earnest tonight. There's Bernie Williams against John Briscoe. First ball swinging and line drive to Ricky Henderson. It hangs up there, and Ricky has it for the first out. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Chevrolet. The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Nothing quenches that deep down body thirst better than Gatorade. and Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn free with new Pepsid AC. Paul O'Neill at the plate. And it takes a strike.
He's having a nice year. He's got a shot at 100 RBIs.
Line foul. Look out in the box seats. And O'Neill at 0-2. You know, Chief, when you look at Paul O'Neill, he's obviously a distinct type of a hitter. Who does he remind you of from your playing days?
That's a tough question. I think he's like a typical left-hand hitter. He's a local. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head right now.
Ground ball to second, played by Gates, and 2 men are out.
Don't ask me those tough questions.
Well,
I've been retired for 3 years.
What I like about O'Neill is the fact that he doesn't get cheated on his swings.
Actually, I didn't retire 4 years, believe it or not.
1990, your final year with the Indians.
Actually, 91, I was on a DL the whole year after I had back surgery. So, and someone told me downstairs, Jack O'Connell, or Donald, excuse me, the writer, that I'm eligible to go on the ballot next year, 5 years of retirement.
As Ruben Sierra, you're talking of the Hall of Fame ballot?
Not that I'm going to get there. I'm going to be on the ballot. I've served my 5-year, I guess,
waiting
purgatory.
Cooling off period. Outside to Sierra, ball and a strike.
And Jack O'Connell, the fine writer now for the Hartford Courant, used to be with the Daily News, I guess, when he covered the Mets. Huh?
Always got along wonderfully with Jack. He's a good man.
Well, the Royals on the verge, keeping it going there. And Sierra taps a foul. Ruben on the night is 0 for 2. He's also walked and scored. Todd Van Poppel, the starter for the Athletics, 4 1/3. He walked 7 batters. 6 of those 7 came around the score, and number 7 drove in a run. It was a bases loaded walk to Mike Stanley. And a call, strike 3. Sierra didn't like the call, but he's down on strikes. 1, 2, 3 go the Yankees in the 6th. We'll return with Baseball Night in America, the Oakland Athletics and the New York Yankees after this from your local stadium. Mike Bordick leading off for the Athletics in the 7th. Rivera high with a fastball. 1-0. Bordick, Henderson, and Baroa. And a good one in the Bronx. 7-6 Yankees lead. Jim Hunter with Keith Hernandez and Susan Waldman at Yankee Stadium. And another fastball is high, and it's 2-0 on Bordick. It was 0 out of 2. Lined out to right and struck out.
Well, I'm sure Buck would like to get another inning out of this guy and get to Mr. Wetterlin.
3-0 the count on Bordick since coming on in the 5th. Rivera has allowed just 1 base runner, a walk, to Mark McGwire. It's proved to lead to no damage. And a fastball for a strike. 3-1 on Bordick. Mike Bordick, Susan told you earlier, a favorite of Tony La Russa, and he really has made the most of his opportunity. He was scouted and discovered by the A's playing summer ball in the Cape Cod League. He played his college baseball at the University of Maine, played in a couple of World Series, but he was an undrafted free agent.
What do you think it is? Fastball.
And it's a strike. Bordick thought it was outside, and now Tim Sheeta pointing to the Athletics dugout. It's Dave Duncan. He's saying, wait a minute. My guy throws one right down the middle. You call it a ball. That one's outside. You call it a strike.
I think this one goes back off the field for the entire game. I think Dave thinks that his pitchers, all of his pitchers, were squeezed.
Payoff pitch is high, ball 4, and he lost him anyway. Well, before the game, we told you about Ricky Henderson, and yesterday telling his manager, Tony La Russa, that mentally he was not into it and didn't want to play, and that upset Tony La Russa very much because Henderson's a veteran, and he needs him in the lineup. Before the game, I spoke with La Russa about that and the effect that it had on his club.
Yeah, that was, it always amazes me, and you should never forget it. You think about all the guys that start in the middle of February. You're together for 6+ months. It's a high-pressure thing. These guys are men, not machines, and they have physical needs. They have emotional needs, and it's a very demanding season. And I think, it got to the point where Ricky just was fried for yesterday's game, and my first instinct was to be very disappointed because it was a huge game for us. But in talking it over and understanding where everybody's coming from, he's ready to go tonight. And I just reminds us all over again the intense pressure that everybody's under to make this thing work, and not just our ball club, all the other 27.
And that's a tough situation for you.
See, what's terrific about that, when you listen to Tony La Russa, this is why players love to play for him. He got his point across, but he protected his player.
I was going to say, was he up for re-election or what?
Well, it's amazing the mood swing from Tony this evening as he met with Ricky behind closed doors for about an hour. And the top spot on Tony's lineup card was blank until after that meeting. And when Ricky emerged, he was in the lineup in his familiar leadoff spot in left field. And Ricky tonight has contributed a 2-run single. And there's the lineup card of Mr. La Russa. And 1-0 to Ricky is in there for a strike. Nardi Contreras was out for a brief chat with Rivera as Bordick takes his lead from first.
No, here we have the golden rule here. 7th inning, 1-run lead, guard the lines. And you've got Wade Boggs playing a good 12, 13, 14 feet off the line.
And a fastball hits the inside corner at the knees. Ricky doesn't like the call, and it's 1-2. This has not been a good night for the Athletics in their judgment of the strike zone of Tim Sheeta. And that looked like a good pitch.
That was a strike.
And there's that scouting report again that we were talking about earlier, that Ricky is not going to pull the ball that much anymore, so maybe that's why they've got Wade pulling over that way towards second.
That could be a good point, Susan. You're right.
The 1-2 and a foul.
Particularly with a hard thrower out there. There you see the setup right there. Wade's not guarding the line by any stretch of the imagination. Mattingly's coming is more guarding the line. Sometimes I think with no outs you want to guard the line. With 1 out, 1 or 2 outs, you can move a little further off. I think you get beat more in the hole than you do down the lines.
Bordick has 9 steals on the year. He's been caught twice. Back in standing. Athletics as a team have stolen 88 bases on the year. Ricky with 26 of those. We're in the 7th. Yankees clinging to a 7-6 lead. And a fastball high. Well, it was high when it crossed the plate. When Ricky came out of that crouch, it looked like a pretty good pitch. Watch this. Ricky in that crouch, and whoop, that looked like around right about that number 24, and well, maybe a little high.
This is another critical at bat. The last at bat was a critical at bat in the game. He's really bearing down. He's a tough out when the game's on the line and it's a critical situation. He's always a tough out. He knows how to shorten his swing up and not go for the long ball. He knows that what the situation requires. He's a leadoff hitter with power, but he's got guys behind him. He can keep the inning rolling to set it up for the 3 and 4 hitters.
And the 2-2 is high, and once again Ricky has battled from behind in the count. And a full count on Henderson. This will give La Russa the option of sending Bordick. He is a guy at the plate with excellent back control.
I'd run him here.
Showalter flashing another sign to Mike Stanley.
Think about getting someone up in that Yankee bullpen too.
There goes Bordick, and it's high, ball 4. Back-to-back walks issued by Rivera. He's walked 3. And the Athletics have first and second and nobody out.
And one of the things that Ricky Henderson is so good at is a little mind game, little intimidation. You see the little finger point at the kid Rivera. You see a little slapping of the fingers, moving them around, the talking to himself, the talking to Rivera. Ricky's very, very good at that.
Bob Wickman is up in the Yankee bullpen. And Rivera is getting himself into a jam here. He has to face the red-hot and Yankee killer, Geronimo Barroa, with 2 on and nobody out. And he gets a slider over for a strike, 0-1. So Stanley going away from the fastball after he walks back-to-back hitters. And he gets the slider in there for a strike. Barroa last at bat, a 2-run home run, which at the time gave the Athletics the lead. At 6-5. They now trail at 7-6. Again with the slider, this one way outside. A ball and a strike on Baroa. Baroa in his major league career has been with the Blue Jays organization, the Braves, the Mariners, the Indians, Cincinnati, Florida, and Oakland. And the 1-1 is outside. 2-1 the count. He is a well-traveled 30-year-old. And right here with a chance to tie the game with a base hit. There's the Yankee brain trust.
It gives managers ulcers when your pitchers don't throw strikes.
Mattingly plays behind Henderson at first. Swing and a miss at a fastball. Well, that was power against power. He guessed fastball did Baroa. Had a healthy cut, but he came up empty.
It's a little bit undisciplined here on Baroa. He overswung here. He worked the count in his favor. 2-1. You got a pitcher struggling. You don't need to hit the long ball here and go for it. You go for the base hit and keep the inning going. It's just a little bit of not being disciplined there. Pull the reins on that horse.
The 2-2 and a high pop foul. That should make the crowd down the first base side, and it does. About 6 rows back. Very vocal crowd on hand here tonight. Not a very large crowd, but a vocal crowd.
And it's really a beautiful night, too, for the weather here. It's not humid, slight breeze, gorgeous weather.
17,646 on a beautiful night like this.
As Baroa, you see, he has just killed Yankee pitching this year. Fattening up those power numbers. Swinging a high fly to center field. This one is deep. Bernie Williams over towards the gap in right center. He'll run it down and make the catch. Both runners tag. Bordick on his way to third. Rickey went halfway and stopped. So Geronimo Baroa hitting it to the wrong part of the ballpark. It's 385 to the gap there, and he didn't get it all, but he advances the runner. First and third for the A's with 1 man out. You see Bernie Williams got a good jump on the ball, and he circled under it and made the catch, and the throw into second to hold Henderson.
He had a nice swing at this ball. It was a fastball, the inner half of the plate. It might have got in on him a little bit, but he did the important thing. He got the runner to third, and I think that the Yankees are going to play back for 2. Probably should play back for 2 and have the corners in halfway. Slow roller. Mattingly and Boggs can come home with it. Ball hit hard at him. They go for 2.
The potential tying run is 90 feet away. And Mike Bordick at third base. There goes Rickey. Pitches low. Stanley's going to let him cruise in. And Rickey stands up with a stolen base.
And that changes everything. That's the veteran there. It's the right time to steal.
Number 27 for Rickey.
Got a basically an inexperienced pitcher out there that just you can't go into your stretch and not pay any attention to Rickey Henderson at first base.
Well, you can't not pay any attention to Rickey at all. Now, he just Canseco used to say that Rickey dancing around on first or second base would get the pitcher to lose concentration for just a minute, and then he would hit the ball out. He just used to love hitting behind Rickey.
1-0 to Gates. Swung on and fouled back.
Now, my question here, Keith, is when you've got a pitcher who is having such success going hard and in, and obviously the game plan now is to keep the ball away, and he's missing with it almost every time. And so now you're pitching to hitters' weaknesses instead of going to your strengths.
Well, they can't put it everywhere every time where they want it. He's a fastball pitcher. He's the type of guy that can get away with bad pitches because his ball has great movement.
Ground ball to short. The tying run will score. Fernandez to first to get Gates, but crossing the plate is Mike Bordick, and we're knotted up at 7. So the stolen base by Henderson was the big play there. If Rickey's at first, that's a double play ball, but instead it's an RBI ground out for Brent Gates, and we're even at 7-7 in the 7th.
Absolutely, the stolen base is critical.
And once again, a man who walked has come on the score as Bordick walked to lead off the inning.
I'd be careful here. He pitched him all fastballs last time. Don't go to the well too much here. He's seen them.
And time was called as Rickey was dancing off second. Velarde was trying to sneak in behind, and Rivera ignored them both and delivered to the plate.
And he also got a sneak preview of the pitch. He threw him a fastball inside. I'd be very careful right here. You got an open base, and you got a young hitter behind him, even though he's a left-hand hitter in Gamby.
And the fastball is high, 1-0. McGuire on the night, a solo home run, an RBI single and a walk, so he's been perfect. Ricky Henderson at second represents the go-ahead run. Buck Showalter hoping that Rivera can pitch out of this now with 2 men out. And a call on the inside corner. It's a ball and a strike on McGuire.
Right here, McGuire looking to outside, and it goes inside fastball right on the inner half of the plate. McGuire, I think, trying to make it look like a ball. It wasn't. See, that's what I mean, Keith. His whole strength is pitching inside.
But you got to be careful because McGuire is such a great fastball hitter. I mean, there's certain times you just don't want to beat your head against up against a wall. I mean, if you're going to pitch Mark McGuire inside, he's one of the best inside fastball hitters in the game. You've got to be careful. You get it in there, you better get it in there. You leave that over the plate a little bit, you're going to get hurt. And they're going to come in again. And he was right on that one.
And he left it out over the plate. He's very lucky.
He was on that one. See Stanley move inside. Ball's inside. Oh, he got a little on the inner half. He got away with one. Mark's right on it. He just missed it.
Felt high.
Might have beat him a little bit. He got a little bit by him.
2-2 on McGuire with 2 men out.
See, that's a good move right there by Mark. Pitcher goes into his stretch. He's been overthrowing. He's a little bit of trouble. Get him in his stretch and step out on him. Just take one. You're allowed to one step now, so just step out and call timeout. Break his rhythm up.
And a call, strike 3, and he hit the inside corner. A beautiful pitch by Rivera, and a pretty good recovery by the young right-hander. 7th inning stretch time at Yankee Stadium. Our score on Baseball Night in America: Oakland 7, New York 7. Back at Yankee Stadium, bottom of the 7th. Fans have had their 7th inning stretch, and we are tied at 7-all as New York comes to bat. Well, next Friday night in prime time at 8 p.m. Eastern, join NBC Sports as the pennant races heat up on Baseball Night in America. You'll see a classic American League East showdown as the same Yankees play host to their arch rivals and the first place Boston Red Sox. That's the Red Sox versus the Yankees next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on Baseball Night in America right here on NBC. As Deion James stands in against John Briscoe, who's still on there, and he's done a terrific job for Tony La Russa since relieving the starter Todd Van Poppel. Fastball is high, and it's 2-0. James to be followed by Don Mattingly and Mike Stanton as the Yankees try to regain the lead here in the 7th.
I'm sure if Deion leads off with a base hit or a walk or of some sort, they'll probably pinch run for him. Get some speed on the bases.
And that's outside. 3-0 on James. There's Wengert, the right-hander, loosening. And the left-hander is Moeller. 3-0 the count on James.
Another walk.
And it's high, ball 4. Another base off balls, and here comes Tony La Russa to sprint. The starter, Todd Van Poppel, walks 7, and that's the second walk issued by Briscoe. And Tony pointedly talking to John Briscoe. Well, 7-0 here. Right now, let's check in with Hannah Storm.
Sandy Alomar brings the Indians back with a 3-run shot off Tigers rookie Jose Lima. Alomar's 7th home run of the season. Indians go up 5-4 on that. They had a couple of runs. They are now up 7-4 and could be looking at their 9th straight victory. Meanwhile, the improbable Brewers right in the thick of things in the wild card race at Minnesota, where they led the Twins by 1 until Chuck Knobloch hit a 2-run home run off Bill Wegman. Knobloch 2nd in the league in hitting. That made it 6-5 Minnesota over Milwaukee. The score now 7-5 Twins. Back to Jim, Keith, and Susan at Yankee Stadium.
Chuck Knobloch having a year for Tom Kelly and the Twins as Don Mattingly battles John Briscoe. And the count, a ball and a strike. Mattingly 2 base hits tonight. An infield hit drove in a run in the first. He's 2 out of 3. And the fans getting behind their hero.
And Bucks elected to keep not to pinch run for Deion James.
Deion drew a leadoff walk. We're in the 7th, tied at 7. John Briscoe hoping Mattingly hits the ball on the ground. The Athletics infield defense plays for 2 with Paquette at third, wide of the bag. A lot of room for Mattingly in right center field. There you see the defensive alignment. The center fielder Javier shading Mattingly the opposite way, which he does quite a bit go that way at this point in his career. The pitch is low and it's 2-1. You know, Keith, there's a lot of debate around New York about Don Mattingly because of his off season, if you'll call it that. And you know, one of the things about Mattingly is that he set such a high standard for himself early in his career, and because of the injuries he has not been able to duplicate that. And you know, one of the big questions is, can Mattingly continue to help a club if his main forte becomes defense?
Well, he's, you know, first base, it's not a position like shortstop where you can have a glove man out there and no hit. I really feel for Don. I do think that his injuries have hampered him considerably. It's tough when you're a veteran player and you put numbers up there and all of a sudden you begin to doubt yourself. Well, have I still got it? It's a whole different mental approach now, and it's difficult to overcome.
Ground ball. This is a double play ball. Bordick will step on the bag and he goes to first. 6-6-3, and quickly 2 men are out. And the slow roller by Mattingly. Well, there was a guy who had himself a glove across town, wore number 17. Throughout his career, won 11 Gold Gloves, and there's the 3-6-3. And Keith back to the bench.
I look a little thinner, too.
Some encouraging words there to Dwight Gooden as you left the field. You don't look too bad.
It's
not the worst for wear, anyway.
Oh, I think it was the socks that made you look thinner out there.
See, now you have that hyphen next to your name. Keith Hernandez hyphen former player.
That's right.
Former first baseman.
Or the military. Oh.
Stanley with a ball towards the gap. The double play saved the A's. Stanley's going to round first and head for second as Javier tracks it down. And Mike Stanley a 2-out double. Stanley's first base hit tonight. He's now 1 out of 3 with a walk. And there's Mattingly.
And Briscoe gets it right in the middle of the plate, and Stanley just hits it right to his power alleys, which is center and right center and left center. Actually is not a pull hitter, and he gets in trouble when he tries to pull the ball. Just took that right to center field. You know, we just saw Mattingly a minute ago. When you signed with Cleveland, Keith, was that they thought you could help, one, I know, in the clubhouse, but obviously anchoring a very young infield, yes?
Well, they had a very young team there now that's all of a sudden just blossomed into what they are. That I think the best team in baseball. Unfortunately, I probably played around 25 games in 2 years for Cleveland. I finally realized that I thought I could play it in the 2 years. I tore my calf. Then my back blew out. So the body was telling me that it was time to go. But I sincerely thought I could play 2 years there, and it just didn't work out. And it would have been fun because I knew that they had a nucleus there of young players with a lot of grit and exuberance, youthful exuberance. If they got pitching, they were going to be a good team. And John Hart, you got to tip your hat to John Hart, the job he's done over there as general manager. Let me tell you.
I think he's changed the way baseball is going to be played for a long time. And this year, of course, Dan Duquette doing the same kind of thing up in Boston. A lot of not very big salaries and bringing them in and bringing them out, and they're winning.
And just made intelligent decisions. Signed his young players, Baerga.
Alomar.
Yes.
Intentional walk to Fernandez with first base open and 2 men out, as Tony La Russa likes the righty versus righty matchup of Briscoe versus Velarde. Stanley at second, Fernandez at first with 2 men out in a 7-7 game. Velarde is 0 for 1. He's also walked twice and scored a run. Low and in. A ball and a strike.
Like a split finger. Did you throw a split at this guy? Mm-hmm. That's pretty good one right there. Just missed.
Usually gets it down in the dirt.
That pitch just changed a whole lot of things for hitters. It's just such a a tough pitch. When Bruce Sutter came in and first started throwing, that's all he threw. At least you knew that's all you were going to get was split fingers. Now, after Bruce came on, other people started developing a split finger to go with their fastball and their curveball.
Well,
this is the one you want to just say, well, I don't think we want to look at that one. Let's just throw that one in the garbage.
breaking ball that slipped out of his hand.
Maybe that's a little payback for Kamenecki's ball slipping out of his hand.
Tony La Russa never forgets.
No, he doesn't.
Swing and a miss at a fastball. It's 2-2.
And the splitter actually changed so many people's career. And, of course, what Dave Stewart did when he came to Oakland with the fastball setting up the splitter changed the way he pitched forever.
Plus, he always threw hard and had a good curveball, too. So it gave him a third weapon, and that's Dave Stewart. You don't have to say any more about him in his career. Another late blossomer, a late bloomer. I mean, he struggled. He went with the Dodgers to Philadelphia to Texas.
And actually was in Baltimore, who were playing Oakland, to have a tryout with Baltimore, and they changed their mind. And La Russa said, well, why don't you come throw for us? And that's how that happened.
3-2, 2 on and 2 out. And ball 4, the bases are loaded. The breaking ball missed, and here comes Wade Boggs. And there's Dave Duncan, who is the master at teaching the splitter, or the forkball as they call it in Oakland.
And I'm sure we'll see a lefty coming in here.
As Tony La Russa makes the slow walk out to the mound with Boggs about to bat. Fourth walk issued by Briscoe, and the 11th walk issued by Athletics pitching in the game. Briscoe, the slow walk off. He did a pretty good job, though. So as the pitching change is made, we'll step out. 7-7 here in New York. Stadium, Tony La Russa goes to the pen for the left-hander, Mike Moeller, to face Wade Boggs, as the Yankees have loaded up the bases here with 2 men out. Well, the last time the bases were loaded, Mike Stanley was at the plate. We go back to our MCI proof positive replay. And where was this pitch? Tim Sheeta, the home plate umpire, said out of the strike zone. Ball 4, bases loaded walk, forced in a run. And down to first went Mike Stanley, and that was that for Todd Van Poppel. He was lifted after that pitch as Briscoe came on, and now it's Mike Moeller, and there is Stanley. He is the go-ahead run at third with 2 men out after a double in this inning.
Moeller will throw a fastball, a curve, a slider, and a change. The slider is his go-to pitch, and he'll throw a lot of fastballs to lefties, and this is why he's in here. Boggs 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Bernie Williams 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Paul O'Neill 0 for 3. So the next 3 batters have not had a hit against Mike Moeller yet.
And Wade's last at bat in the 5th inning, he struck out called looking with the bases loaded, so he's got a chance for a big redeemer here.
Well, Moeller has been pitching very well out of the pen for the Athletics. Over his last 7 outings, has not allowed a run. He was called up on July the 22nd. Bases loaded. There's Stanley at third, Fernandez at second, and Randy Velarde at first, and the crowd in the Bronx getting into it. 7-7 game, 2 men are out. And it's inside, 1-0.
And a breaking ball. In a situation like this, a pitcher's just got to get ahead with the bases loaded. You don't want to come in and get behind. I mean, it's obvious. It's first semester here. You don't want to fall behind. He's pretty much got to come with a fastball here. And it comes with a slider. Knee-high outside.
The slider is actually his go-to pitch. He's not afraid to throw it to either lefties or righties. He'll actually throw a curve to both lefties and righties. He's a brave one.
I tip my hat to him there. He misses with that. That's 2-0, missing 2 breaking balls. You can look for some cheddar.
And a ground ball playable for Gates in between hop, but he gets it to Bordick for the force. And Moeller comes on and works out a big trouble for Oakland. Yankees leave the bases loaded. We go to the 8th. Our score remains New York 7, Oakland 7. 7-7 game, toughest job in baseball, coming in with the bases loaded and asked to get out one of the best hitters in baseball, and Mike Moeller did it. And look at the high fives on the bench. And a job well deserved, getting the tough Wade Boggs with the go-ahead run 90 feet away. Late in the game, defensive plus and critical. And there's Gerald Williams replacing Deion James in left field for New York.
And a great defensive player. Also, my guess is now that there's a lefty in, you put the right-hander Gerald Williams in there.
Jason Giambi fouls it back. Giambi, Steinbach, and Javier do this inning. Mariano Rivera still out there for New York. He came on for Kamenicki in the 5th. And he's done a good job. So far has allowed just 1 run. And the slider fouled back, and it's 0-2. Giambi on the night, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts.
And Rivera was a starter, has been his whole career. He pitched 5 1/3 innings last week in Seattle, so he can stay out there.
They're going to go with him now if the game is tied. The minute they get a lead, they're going to, well, if they get the lead before the bottom of the ninth, of course, they're going to go in with their stop man, Tim Wedley.
1-2 on Giambi. And the fastball high.
Throws hard.
Well, Jason Giambi, new to the scene, and he was telling the story about how he knew he had made it to the major leagues when on a recent homestand he went out for some dinner and somebody actually noticed him as, hey, you're Jason from the A's, aren't you? And that was the instant he knew that he was a major league player.
That's always a great moment. Your first recognition.
Where was yours?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yes,
so
you
long
can.
ago.
They all know.
That's me. See, my rookie year was 1974. I can't remember.
Well, it was when Lou Brock said, hey, kid, come on, you're under my wing. And a swing and a miss, and a tough night for Giambi. 3 strikeouts for the youngster. And the rookie goes back to the bench.
Was there a reason that Lou Brock took you under his wing? What did he like?
Here's the fastball. Lou was just this. Well, this is very plain, throwing it right by him. Lou was just the veteran on that team that really had a good heart and cared about people, and it wasn't just me. He was like my second father. I cannot say enough for him.
Steinbach, a bouncer to short. Easy play for Fernandez. Low throw, but Mattingly plays it. 2 men are out. Tony Fernandez. Here's Mariano Rivera. And, well, he may be a starting pitcher, but long relief is a critical job in the big leagues. If the starter can't get it done, you go to the pen and hope that somebody could come on and eat up some innings, and Rivera has done that for Buck Showalter tonight.
And this is the first time when he's come in relief that it hasn't taken him a few batters or an inning or 2 to get settled down, so he really seems to be adjusting to it.
Showalter flashing signs to Wade Boggs at third as Javier swings at the first pitch, and a high fly to Bernie Williams in center field. Bernie makes the catch. A's go 1-2-3 in the 8th, and Mariano Rivera has done the job for the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the 8th, still tied at 7.
Most car manufacturers build their prototypes by hand, but we built the all-new Lumina prototypes on a prototype assembly line. We put it together, took it apart, then redesigned it so we could make it better when it went to production. It took us 18 months. But one thing's certain, there's quality in the build.
Going bottom of the 8th, 7-7 game. Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill, and Ruben Sierra for the Yankees in the 8th. As Mike Bowler misses. 1-0. Jim Hunter with Keith Hernandez and Susan Walton. Yankee Stadium in New York on Baseball Night in America. The 2 teams in that wild card hunt in the American League. And a swing and a miss. A ball and a strike on Bernie. Bernie's first 2 at-bats tonight, he walked and scored each time. He has since bounced into a fielder's choice and lined out to left. 11 walks issued by the Athletics pitching tonight. And the breaking ball hits the corner.
If you take away 5 of those walks, this game's well in hand for the A's on a victory. Instead of a 7-7 tie here in the 8th.
Not only did several of the walks come home to score, but there was the bases loaded walk to Stanley, which forced in a run.
We've got double-barreled action in the A's bullpen. That's Jim Corsi and Don Wingert. John Wetland up in the Yankee bullpen, and that's a little peculiar.
I just probably think they're getting him ready. If they get a run, he's ready to come in tonight. You don't want to get caught with your proverbial pants down here.
Good point.
Changeup misses outside. It's 2-2.
There's Wetland. He's had some struggles lately. He has his pants on, yes.
As all good closers do.
I was wondering if I should say that.
Look out with a line drive in the stands.
It's an idiom. Sure.
Must have your stop man ready in case you score in the bottom of the 8th.
Wetland's really struggled in the last, over the last 3 weeks, I guess. Seems to had lost some confidence in his fastball there for a while, was throwing a curve and a slider, and if he doesn't throw that fastball, which is about 95, he's not going to be very successful.
2-2 misses low, and Bernie works the count full. On deck, Paul O'Neill.
Bernie Williams has become a much more selective hitter over the last 2 years. Never used to walk a lot. Now gets his share of base and balls.
Payoff pitch, and he got him. Nice pitch by Mike Moeller. 3-2 changeup, and Bernie swings through it. 1 man out.
Actually, it's a 3-2 curveball. It's out of the strike, and this kid's got a nice curveball. Slider. Nice down break to it.
First strikeout for Moeller.
And he's not afraid to throw it, neither. He likes to throw that breaking ball.
Here's Paul O'Neill. Breaking ball inside, 1-0. Paul had the huge game last night. The long ball here would put New York ahead. Line drive down the line. That's a fair ball going to the corner. Barreau over to play the carom. O'Neill with a wide turn. The throw is not in time. And a 1-out double for Paul O'Neill. Well, Barreau played that one very well. The triple by Deion James in the first inning. He went after it very deliberately. That time he hustled to the corner. And he made it a close play at second, but O'Neill with good hustle legs out the double.
And one of the great things about O'Neill is that he does handle the breaking pitch from the lefty very, very well. He is better against a lefty if he is throwing a slider or a curve, as Moeller did there. He can handle that very easily.
When he first came up with Cincinnati, you could always, left-handers gave him considerable amount of trouble. He stood way far away from the plate, could not handle the ball outside, whether it was a fastball or a breaking ball. And what I've seen here is that he's moved closer to the plate.
And he's also stays back more, and he's got that little leg kick, almost that Dwight Evans leg kick that Rick Down has worked with him since he's been here to keep him back.
Well, Tony La Russa out to the mound. He's already made the signal. So the right-hander will come on. Sierra at the plate, a switch hitter. La Russa obviously wants him up there from the left side. Now, Sierra, of course, left Oakland under less than pleasant circumstances in the trade for Danny Tartabull. And he is going back to the bench and taking his helmet off, so we'll see. And he puts the helmet on to go up there from the left side, the different ear flap. But Danny Tartabull, of course, well, in the opinion of the Yankee hierarchy, had outlived his usefulness here in New York, so they made the trade. Tartabull going to Oakland, Sierra coming to New York, and Ruben has come up with some big RBIs. He hasn't really torn the cover off the ball, but he's getting an opportunity to be in there every day as a DH.
He's had some very big game-winning hits for the Yankees, had a brutal road trip, but wants this very badly. And of course, we all remember that Tony La Russa referred to Ruben Sierra as the village idiot when they left Oakland, and Sierra deeply stung by that. And one thing that Sierra does when he tries too hard, he presses. He swings at balls he shouldn't, which is only one of the things that La Russa didn't want him to do. As for Tartabull actually went through slumps like this, and he was hitting about 200 and wasn't hitting home runs, and he was your cleanup hitter. But every year at the end of the year, you'd have 30 and 90 for Danny.
Well, if there was any animosity between Tartabull and Buck Showalter, they didn't seem to show it during the Athletics batting practice. There's Buck Showalter chatting with Danny, big smile, and a smile out of Buck. How about that?
Danny was actually very popular in that clubhouse. He was a good guy. The guys liked him. I think, quite frankly, some people cannot take the booing in the stands and could not take being ripped in the papers by the owner. He was very embarrassed by it. Not everybody is Reggie Jackson. Not everybody can respond when you're being publicly ripped by the owner of your team.
Well, 7-7 here, and an interesting weekend because a lot of the wild card contenders playing each other. Last chance there for Texas. Brewers' struggles continue. And the Mariners have defeated Baltimore, so Seattle keeps rolling along. The Mariners were tied for that wild card lead with Texas and Kansas City as play began tonight. Royals are leading. Texas is trailing. And Seattle has already won. So the Mariners now 3 over 500 at 60 and 57.
And we were talking about everybody doing it a different person every night. Tonight for Seattle, Dan Wilson, 3 for 4.
The new pitcher is Don Wengert, the right-hander. One man out. Paul O'Neill, the runner, at second. He represents the go-ahead run in a 7-7 game. National League scores. The Astros struggling along with a lead at home. Rockies' road woes continue.
Well, it's interesting. La Russa knows Sierra enough. He wants him hitting left-handed on the left side.
And the pitch by Wengert, a fastball low, 1-0.
Wengert, the pitcher that Wade Boggs got hit number 2,500 off of when the team was in Oakland last week.
Wengert activated from the disabled list about a week and a half ago. And the 1-0 pitch in there for a strike. He has since made 3 appearances and has allowed 3 earned runs.
Here's a situation here. You don't need a home run. A base hit will put him ahead. Stay disciplined. The situation does not require an extra base hit.
Swinging a foul back. Sierra looked disgusted with himself. He looked like he had a pitch he thought he could drive, and he fouled it back.
Sierra only hitting 216 from the left side, 273 from the right side.
Here's that last pitch. Out over the plate, Ruben going that way. Looked late on the swing.
He didn't have a good cut at all at that ball, as you can see. It's a pretty ugly swing, but believe me, he'll be ready this time. He might have been looking for a breaking ball or something.
Here's the 1-2. Slow roller right side, fielded by Giambi. He'll flip to Wengert covering up. And they get Sierra on the play. O'Neill goes to third. And guess what? Deion James is due. But the chants in the background are for Darryl, and here is Darryl Strawberry. Not in the starting lineup tonight, but a chance to put the Yankees on top here in the bottom of the 8th. And a standing ovation for Darryl Strawberry in the Bronx. Well, Darryl, one of those guys who loves the limelight, and here it is here. 7-7 game and the potential go-ahead run 90 feet away with 2 men out.
This is a tough spot for Darryl. He hasn't played since Monday, and he pinch hit against Kansas City. He played right field. He hasn't started since the 27th when the team was in Seattle. It's got to be a tough spot. A guy coming in, a big slugger like this who needs a lot of work and has to pitch all the time, has to hit all the time. Once a week isn't going to do it for a guy like Darryl.
He's not used to pinch hitting neither. He's been a everyday player his whole career. A little pressure here, but he's made Duncan go to the mound. They're talking about it out there. He's putting the pressure on him. I mean, you got Mattingly behind him. I always felt that you wanted to go after the pinch hitter. He's the one that's cold. And no matter what your feelings are about Mattingly, you've got an open base here. You can elect to pitch around Darryl if you want. But I'd rather pitch the guy off the bench that's cold than the guy that's been in the game the whole 8 innings.
You saw the bullpen is silent for the Athletics. Strawberry is 0 for 3 as a pinch hitter this year. Crowd is behind Darryl. And a fastball inside, 1-0.
See, there's one thing you can't deny. Darryl Strawberry still has that intimidation, and if Don Wengert's focus is off for 1 little second, Darryl can take advantage of it.
Well, they want to lead him off inside. You can get Darryl inside, particularly upstairs. That's where you have to pitch him. You have to get him worried in, then you can go away.
And the fastball is high, 2-0. One more of those, it'll be intentional ball 4.
And like you said, Susan, you know, the pitcher's overthrowing here. He's feeling the heat. He has to respect Darryl, and he's overthrowing here, and he's got behind the count. Here's a nice pitch to hit.
Wingert working from the stretch. With Paul O'Neill at third. O'Neill represents the go-ahead run. 7-7 game, bottom of the 8th. And a foul back. Darryl out in front on that one.
Well, actually, they threw him a little fastball sinking away that time after 2 strong pitches inside. And I think Darryl was a little bit over-concerned about the inside pitch. If the pitcher can get a hitter worried in, he's got him eating out of his hand.
Inside with a fastball. The count to 3-1.
There are very few hitters, particularly in this Yankee lineup, that put fear in the hearts of the opposing pitcher. No matter what Darryl has done lately, he still has that. He still walks up there, and it's still Darryl Strawberry.
No, they're not going to intentionally walk him. 3-1 the count. And inside, ball 4. So that really doesn't hurt the Athletics, but it brings up the Yankee captain, Don Mattingly, in a big spot in the game. Tony La Russa looking over the situation.
The only thing this does is set up a hole for Mattingly between first and second, and see if they got to hold Darryl on. You've got to put a stop sign on Darryl. Don't steal this base. We want the first baseman to hold him on to give Don that hole between first and second. If Darryl goes and steals second base, they're going to walk Mattingly intentionally and pitch to the right-hand hitter.
Mattingly has 2 hits tonight. His infield hit in the first drove in a run. And he looks it over low, 1-0. There's a big hole in
between first and second right there. He's got something to shoot for right there.
Also a gap in right center. There's O'Neill. He's the go-ahead run. And it's low again, 2-0.
We've got the second baseman playing pretty much out of double play depth. He's almost like playing Don for a pull hitter here. And he's going to have trouble getting to second base for a force out.
Runners at the corners with 2 men out. Tony La Russa's team has battled all night with 7-7, bottom of the 8th. Anxious moment in this game. The 2-0 pitch is a call strike. Outside corner at the knees to Mattingly.
They've been pretty much pitching Don away the whole game.
Only 5 Yankees have more career base hits than Don Mattingly. And those 5 are all in the Hall of Fame. That's low, and it's 3-1.
Mattingly still tries to pull things and obviously can't with the bad back. If you just go a little more to the opposite field, be a lot more successful, but still tries to pull too much.
I wonder, Susan, if it's just a confidence thing of the last couple of off years he's had. He's always went that way, naturally.
3-1 is outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded once again for guess who? Mike Stanley is coming to the plate. Stanley batted with the bases loaded in the 5th. And he worked out a walk to force in a run. Tony La Russa can hardly believe it.
13 walks for the Oakland A's pitching staff.
Back-to-back walks issued by Wengert. He has faced 3 batters. He got Sierra on a ground out to first, but has since walked Strawberry and Mattingly. And now he has to face Mike Stanley, who has developed, and justifiably so, a reputation of hitting in the clutch with the bases loaded. 7 times this year he has come through.
And he's hitting
times, 8 out of 10.
And he's hitting .346 this year with men in scoring position.
Wengert stays from the stretch, and the fastball for a strike. Stanley looked it over. Showalter looked it over. Inside, and it's a ball and a strike. Ron Wingert trying to work himself out of trouble. Trouble he got himself into walking back-to-back batters. 2 men are out, bottom of the 8th in the 7-7 game. And the slider misses, 2-1.
We saw Steinbach setting up way outside there.
That didn't miss by much. He could have got that call. Well, this is obviously the critical pitch, 2-1. If he goes 3-1, he's in a heap of trouble.
Time called by Stanley.
Good time to step out again.
Tony La Russa very anxious on the Athletics bench. And he looked it over and got the call. It's ball 3.
And that one just missed.
A walk is as good as a hit. It'll break the tie. Athletics have been giving the Yankees walk after walk after walk in this game.
And if he's got to come in, he's got to come way in. If he leaves it out over the middle of the plate, Stanley will kill it.
He's got to throw a strike here.
Ground ball off the glove of Paquette. The run will score as it's not played. As Bordick tried to run it down, but Strawberry hustling into third, and that should be a base hit. Paquette got in front of it, but he couldn't make the play. And Stanley once again comes through with the bases loaded.
And if Paquette had fielded that plainly, Jim, I'll tell you, Paul O'Neill would be a dead duck at the plate because he absolutely looked at Paquette before he ran home.
That was a good pitch to hit. Paquette stood there in disbelief. He didn't know where the ball was as Bordick ran it down. So O'Neill scores the go-ahead run. Yankees lead at 8-7.
And Pat Kelly has replaced Darrell at third base. Pinch running.
Why? Curious about that one.
And Fernandez at the plate takes low. Bases still loaded. Infield hit for Stanley. And another RBI with the bases loaded. Now back by Tony Fernandez.
I get the feeling, Keith, that Buck is being very overprotective with Darrell and his back and his hamstrings.
You're probably right. It just seems to me a one-run lead is not secure. This game could go extra innings. You don't know how long it's going to go. You don't want to deplete your bench.
And it's outside. The count to 2-1.
It's not over till it's over. You want to. Well, you don't want to lose your bench in this game. If they tie that way, this game's been going seesaw. You still want to. You don't want to lose your bench strength.
And the pitch is high. It's 3-1. Well, he's going to have to put Kelly into the game anyway on defense because Velarde will have to go to left. He's already used Gerald Williams and Deion James, so.
And there's the logical reason why he made that move.
Which shows you that he's not comfortable, at least, to put Strawberry into the outfield, and a call strike, 3-2.
Well, they'll be in motion, the runners.
And the pitch is fouled back. Pat Kelly is the runner at third. There's Pat. Don Mattingly at second. And Mike Stanley is the runner at first. Stanley twice has come through with the bases loaded. The 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed, and he got him. So Wengert works out of further trouble, but not before the Yankees rally for a run. We go to the top of the ninth. Last chance for the Athletics. The Yankees leading 8-7. To the ninth, the Yankees now back out in front at 8-7. Had some changes for New York. There's Randy Velarde, who was at second, now in left field. Pat Kelly, the pinch runner in the previous inning, now at second base. And here's the new pitcher, and it's the closer, John Wetland, trying to pick up his 24th save. 3 outs will do the trick. Craig Paquette, Mike Bordick, and then Ricky Henderson due for Oakland here in the ninth. First ball swinging and a foul. 0-1 on Paquette, who is 1 out of 3 on the night.
And Wetland's had his problems, particularly in August, and he pitched in 13 games, went 0 for 3 and a 7.24 ERA with 5 saves and 9 opportunities. He last pitched Thursday against California. Pitched the ninth. He got his first 2 guys on strikeouts and then allowed 3 straight hits. He's had some problems lately.
The 0-1 is fouled back to our right. And it's quickly 0-2 on Paquette. Mariano Rivera did a great job tonight for Buck Showalter. The youngster went 3 2/3. He allowed just 1 run on no base hits. He struck out 5 and walked 2. The 2 walks happened to come in the same inning, and it led to a run. Brent Gates got the run in with a grounder. But a terrific job in middle relief for Rivera. And a call strike 3 hit the outside corner, and Paquette let it go by. Baseball Night in America is brought to you by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. Tagamet HB, the most prescribed medication of this kind, is now for heartburn. And Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers. Here's Mike Bordick, takes a strike. Bordick on the night, 0 for 2. He's also walked and scored a run. Fouls it back, and it's 0-2. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tom Roy. Coordinating producer of the Baseball Network is John J. Filippelli. Coordinating producer for NBC Sports, John Gonzalez. The Vice President of Operations for the Baseball Network is Ed Delaney. Studio producers Lance Garrett and Bill Graff. 0-2 the count. And it's wide, 1-2 on Bordick. Tonight's game here in New York produced by Leon Schweier. Directed by John Moore. Our Associate Director, Mark Bauman. Our Technical Director, Marty Race. And a call strike 3. And there goes Bordick. And our assistant to the producer, Becky Solomon. Thanks to all the crew tonight here in New York. And Keith.
Major League curveball. Go sit down. Tip your hat. He just buckled him there. He knew it.
And that's Wetland at his best, setting him up fastball after fastball and getting him with the breaking pitch. You can't touch that one.
When you're a stopper and you go in for 1 inning 2 max, you want a hard thrower out of there with a good hard breaking ball. You don't have to fool around and have an off-speed pitch. Someone to come in strong and just throw it.
Well, here's a nice way to end a tight game, Keith.
Keep the ball away. Keep the ball away. He wants to try to hit a home run here. Let him try to pull an outside pitch.
Wetland working from the stretch. 1 out away from a save. And a foul. Oh, that hurt. Stanley shaking it off the chest protector. Now they are tough behind the plate. And you see that. Ooh, that got him. It looked like near the shoulder.
And the chin.
Well, tonight's Chevrolet player of the game is Mike Stanley, the Yankees catcher. In conjunction with this program, Chevrolet will contribute a total of $50,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America in the names of all players of the game for the 1995 Major League Baseball season. Stanley with that honor tonight. Twice with the bases loaded. He got a run in. Once with a base hit. Once with a walk. Pitch to Ricky is high. It's a ball and a strike.
Keep the ball away here. Don't want to give the long ball. Gene Tennis, when I played with Gene Tennis the 2 years in in St. Louis when he came over from the Padres. Told me 1-run lead late in the game, keep the ball away.
He had a foul back. Ricky behind 1-2. You also have a situation here if you're the Yankees. You have to look in that on-deck circle. There's a man there named Geronimo Baroa who has lived off Yankee pitching this year. He already has a 2-run home run in this game. If Ricky gets on, Baroa would have a chance to give the A's the lead once again, and there he is. It's up to Ricky to get on and keep it going. The crowd at Yankee Stadium now on their feet. 1-2 the count with 2 men out. Playoff fever has hit the Bronx. And it's just off the plate, but he's keeping it away, as you said.
That time he did. It wasn't a great breaking ball there. Don't hang it. I think go with your best pitch. Here he's trying to throw the breaking balls. You can see it just stays flat here, as opposed to when he struck out Bordick looking. So go with your best pitch. He's coming inside.
And Ricky fouls it back. Ricky still with terrific bat speed. As Wetland rubs up a new one. Now, Susan, you've seen John Wetland all year long. What's the difference when he's good and bad?
The difference is his fastball, pure and simple. When he's throwing 95 and not fooling around with the curve and the slider, he's unhittable.
Ricky steps back in. Wetland improving the sign. And it's low. And I'll tell you, you got to hand it to Ricky Henderson. This guy has a terrific batting eye, and he works the count to his favor. This one was close, Keith, but he let it go by.
It's low, and he's just a good 2-strike hitter. He's just, I think, one of the greatest leadoff hitters the game's ever seen. He hits with power, average, stolen bases.
Baroa hopes to get a chance. He'd be next. And a pop-up, and this should do it. Wade Boggs, left side, is calling. And behind the pitcher's mound, he makes the catch. And Boggs squeezes it for the final out. And John Wetland will shake hands with his catcher, Mike Stanley. And Ricky got a pitch he can handle, but he pops it up. Our final score from the Bronx, the Yankees with a run in the bottom of the 8th defeat the Athletics 8-7. Stay tuned now to this NBC station for the Tonight Show with Jay Leno following your local news. Next Friday on Baseball Night in America, it's the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees. For Susan Waldman and Keith Hernandez, this is Jim Hunter saying so long from Yankee Stadium. Thanks for tuning in. The Yankees